In a stadium built for heroes, a sport only for the brave. Speedway's new era dawns. Champion comes to defend his title. Tonight, Mikhail defends his crown.
Yes, the waiting is finally over. Grand Prix Speedway's biggest event is upon us as Cardiff's Millennium Stadium opens its doors for its first ever motorsport event. The FIM Egg British Speedway Grand Prix comes to Cardiff for round 2 of the World Championship. Britain's Mark Loram is the defending champion, but the fans are here in force to support all the top 24 Speedway racers in the world. 30,000 tickets have been sold in advance, with 40,000 fans expected trackside tonight. It's going to be an historic night for Speedway. Hello and a warm welcome to the Millennium Stadium. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic night out here. It's a special event, as you all know, and we have 3 special guests. Still pour into the stadium. With me here in the studio, Carl Fogarty, Kelvin Tatum and Gary Havelock. We've got 3 of the best in here. Carl, welcome to Speedway. What do you make of this particular atmosphere?
It's a fantastic atmosphere, it really is. I think this is what Speedway needs, to be honest. We're in the Millennium Stadium now. I think Speedway needs to they brought into the new Millennium sort of, you know, like some of the other motorcycle sports, like motocross has changed a little bit. Road racing's changing now to the new 4-stroke rules, and I think Speedway needs to be in these sort of venues, these sort of atmospheres, and sort of brought into Millennium, and here we are. It's great. I'm really looking forward to tonight.
When we actually invited you to this, were you expecting something as big as this? I mean, had you done any homework on what you were likely to expect?
No, not really. I mean, last time I went to a Speedway World Final, I was about 13 years old, to Bellevue in about 1979. It was just, you know, it's just totally different to what I'm seeing here. Just coming in through Cardiff, and just the fans, they're all the colours on it. Reminds me of like Brands Hatch a few years ago. I've never seen as many English flags in Wales. I don't think we're too happy about that, but it's great to see, and I'm looking forward to it, like I said.
Makes a change not to see Foggy written all over the English
flags. I've seen a few Foggy T-shirts.
Did you bring them yourself? Kelvin, you're pretty much used to this kind of atmosphere now as a broadcaster and obviously as a rider as well. Speedway really is on the up, and this has got to be the pinnacle so far.
Oh yeah, I came in here yesterday afternoon and literally walked out to this arena, and it just took my breath away, Keith. It was quite spectacular. To think what they've done in 3 days in this stadium to produce such a wonderful surface to ride on, and like Carl was saying, you know, we're bringing the sport into the new century, I think is exactly what the sport needs.
Gary, World Speedway champion in '92. I can only ask you, how does this compare with your great night?
Well, it's a lot different really. I mean, I was lucky that I won my world final out in Poland, where they have huge crowds there. I think it was about 45,000 there when I won that, and I was probably lucky in that way, because there's not a lot of other places that hold that sort of people. But you know, tonight, as the guys have already said, I've been walking, we stayed over last night, we've been walking through the streets and that today, and it's just been like a carnival atmosphere. It's exactly what Speedway needs, and Benfield you know, doing a fantastic job of bringing it into these big stadiums and these big cities, and long may it continue.
Long may it continue indeed. Well, thank you 3 gentlemen for joining us at the moment. We're going to hear plenty more from them. Well, I think Kelvin did the organisers a bit of a disservice, because he said it took 3 days to prepare, but it was 4 days and 4 whole nights to transform the Millennium Stadium. built the track. This is what it looks like right now. We are live at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff, in South Wales. This is the most fantastic speedway event I've ever been to. It's something very, very special indeed, and they're still queuing to get in. Well, the fans have got plenty to come here and cheer, and there's a six-pack of Brits to watch out for. Here they are.
If he stays here, he's world champion. Thomas Carlsson wins the heat. Mark the Ram punches the air. Mark the Ram is world champion. Andy Smith, born in York, rides for Bellevue. 3 times a British champion, bucking and rearing. What a ride for him. He's bounced back. And Stoney's having a go on that final bend. Steps through on the inside and does his bit to take second place. A marvellous ride in the end by the rider in white there, Carl Stonehewer. Look at the bucking and rearing machine of Chris Louis. Blocks him out, and now Louis in blue down there in front. Nichols is picking up the grip. Joe Screen is going to have to go wide and block it. Nichols goes round the outside. Nichols gets the chair to the full fan. Dugard goes into the final lap, the wild card. He didn't practice. He went home to sleep in his own bed last night, and now down the back straight, he looks set to take the British Grand Prix ahead of Graham Sullivan from Australia. Mark the Ram is back in 3rd place. He'll keep it tight, but Martin Dugard is the champion. Martin Dugard wins the British Grand Prix.
And we'll have an early opportunity to check out their form as well. They didn't have a good first round in Berlin, so that means they'll all be out in the preliminary heats. Now then, down in pit lane, if he can hear me, because believe me, it's absolutely deafening here, Jonathan Green. I can see you smiling, so you can hear me, Jono. You're in the pits. It must be a bit quieter behind the scenes down there in the bowels of the Millennium Stadium at the moment.
Thanks for the expression. That's not the expression I would have used. This is the glory end, let me tell you. No, there's the calm before the storm, really, Keith, at the moment. It is very quiet in here. There's almost a strange hush about it because so much anticipation, of course. And the weird thing is there's monitors showing what's going on outside. So the guys in here can actually see the crowd building up, and they're just sort of looking out the corner of their eyes. I think all of them know just how big a night this is for Speedway. And for many of these riders, it's going to be the biggest night they've ever taken part in a Speedway event. And there's a lot of nerves, I can tell you, about it at the moment. A few of the guys getting ready. I can see, let's see if we can get across. Todd Wiltshire's just over here, one of the Aussies, of course. He's just getting on his bike to warming up. Todd, what about this? What about this event? We've been waiting a long time. Are you looking forward to it?
It's unbelievable. I can't believe we're finally here at Cardiff Stadium, and it looks fantastic.
And I've heard no complaints so far about the track.
Surely you're not going to get any. This is perfect. They've done a great job, and we're all looking forward to getting out there.
There's a few Aussies who've come to the cricket. They've also come to the Speedway, so they'll be wishing you well. All right, we'll let you get back to the concentration. Let's move a little bit down. As we said, we're in the pits, Keith, and, well, as I said, the atmosphere is pretty exciting down here. But the anticipation is what is about to happen because, well, we can start to hear the noise down here, and the horns have been going off all day. The man they've come to see, besides, of course, Mark Ram, is this man over here. If we can get a word with him, we'll be delighted because Tony Rickardson has set the world on fire. I was out talking to some of the crowd earlier on, and despite the fact that this man is injured, well, roughly anyway, they're still saying he's the #1 rider. I'll tell you what, everybody in Cardiff's talking about you. Are you fit and ready for this?
Yeah, we really are. You know, we had a good practice, but there was a lot of guys was going really good out there, so it's going to be a really tough one tonight. But we feel kind of ready, and we just got to go out there and try to do as good as we can.
Best of luck to you.
All right, thanks.
Well, there he is, the man of the moment. Let's take a quick walk up here and see some of the other pits. Just over here, Kenny Roberts, of course, now part of the Speedway fraternity. He's looking after the '96 world champion, Billy Hamill. And look, typical Roberts style, it's immaculate in there. There's the world champion, Mark Laram. Quick word. Mark, looking forward to it?
Yeah, it's noisy.
It is noisy, isn't it?
Yeah, it's probably great. Brilliant.
We'll let you get your concentration together. Look, good luck to Mark Laram, of course. All the British fans looking forward to that. Come with me, because we're running out a little bit of time. But this is where they'll come. They'll come up here on the bikes, and I'll tell you why there's a lot of anticipation. Since I've been doing Speedway for the last 3 years, everybody said we need to get back to the glory days. Well, Wembley has gone. This is the new Millennium Stadium, and the glory days of Speedway are very much back. Look at this crowd here. It's an incredible atmosphere. Absolutely amazing. This morning when we were in here, it was empty, but there was still so much buzz about this place. All around Cardiff, everybody's been waiting to get in here. They've been blowing horns all day long. And I'll tell you what, I'm glad I'm not riding, because my heart's beating at the moment, just feeling and just taking in this atmosphere. It's absolutely incredible. Terry Russell, Ollie Olsen have done an amazing job of getting this track together. And I think the main thing about it is, there's so far been no complaints about it at all. Now, just spotted out of the corner of my eye, one man who's used to big pressure, Ian Botham is here, good to see you. Now, we've just been talking to Mark Laram, who is the current world champion. He comes to this event, and of course they're all expecting him to do well. You're about one of the few people I can think of who's used to this kind of pressure. How do you deal with it?
Well, I think first of all, it's nice to be in that situation. I used to always say that pressure is something that makes kettles boil, whistle. Because to me, pressure is where you want to be. If you go into any sport, you want to be in the focus, you want to be in the spotlight, and you want to be competing against the best and doing well. So if that's pressure, I think every sportsman will take it any time.
I know you're doing the cricket just across the way, but were you expecting to see this sort of feeling to what is, most people said is a small sports speedway, but it's growing, isn't it?
It is growing, but trying to get into here was hard enough. Getting out of that ground and trying to get into this one, it was very complicated, but I have been here before, and I was lucky enough to be here when England played Wales, and that was full, 75,000. It's a magnificent stadium, a sliding roof, and I think you couldn't pick a better venue, and I think the people here will enjoy themselves. It's a great venue.
All right, thanks, Ian. Well, I tell you what, it doesn't get much better. Ian Botham's here, Foggy's here, they're all here. As they say in gladiatorial terms, let the games begin.
Thanks, Jonathan. Let's just confirm the standings then after round one. Thomas Golob gets 25 points. Henke Gustafson, the surprise package from Sweden there in second place. Nicky Pedersen, well, he must have been robbed by Tony Rickardsson, who was eventually excluded in the last heat. Fourth place for him. Peter Karlsson fifth, Todd Wiltshire sixth, Lee Adams in seventh, and Ryan Sutherland is eighth. That's how it looks after round one. We'll take a break. Heat one is next.
Game one, New South Wales took a thrashing.
The Maroons are in again.
Queensland relished in the spoils, but this is state of origin. Anything can happen. Game 2, 10:30 tomorrow morning on Sky Sports 2.
Blue from American Express has evolved. Welcome to our next generation of credit card.
My feet are killing me.
I think I need to sit down. I'm not feeling too well.
Steve? Oh, God. Could somebody help?
Would you know what to do if someone had a heart attack? Would they know what to do if you had a heart attack? For a free Heart Start pack, call 0870 909 0111.
Because Kodak Ultra Zoom film is designed especially for zoom cameras, you won't miss the moment.
She's so cool. She's so sweet. I like touching her skin. There's nothing I don't like about her. She's great. Sometimes her face goes red when she's mad, but hardly ever from spots.
Clearasil helps beat spots. Now you're in the clear.
From Burger King comes the flame grilled taste of chicken. The new Chicken Flamer. Flame grilled chicken with crisp salad. Burger King. It's all about the taste.
This summer, a terrifying legend is reborn.
Whatever it is, it's inside.
For the new century.
What happened in there?
Wes Craven presents Dracula 2001.
Blue from American Express has evolved. Welcome to our next generation of credit card.
Exotic fruit juice with a cutting edge of vodka.
The Lions tour of Australia. See their second game exclusively live. Coverage sponsored by Zurich, Tuesday at 10 on Sky Sports 2.
What a night, the biggest night in British Speedway since the halcyon days of Wembley nearly 20 years ago. 24 of the world's top riders, one of the world's best stadia, and, well, around 40,000 fans here have crammed to get in. A noise I've never heard like it. I have a world champion alongside me, Peter Collins. Peter, was it like this when you rode?
Yeah, Tony, this is the atmosphere that I can remember from the big stadiums like Wembley, Los Angeles, Coliseum, Katowice. When I won my world title in Katowice, there were 130,000 people there. Well, that was an outdoor stadium. That was a record, but we've got everybody inside with the roof closed. The atmosphere here is unbelievable.
Well, we've been hearing plenty about the atmosphere. The track itself is 287 metres. It's laid here in this famous stadium that has staged the FA Cup final recently, the home of rugby internationals. The Welsh rugby fans probably consider it sacrilege. Their sacred turf has been removed. A track here, which is just like Boyers, should provide plenty of racing, well, near perfect conditions. There is Brian Anderson, the 97 winner of the British Grand Prix. He goes from the inside, the Dane in the red helmet colours. In gate 2, in blue, is Niklas Klingberg, the current Intercontinental champion from Sweden. He goes from gate 2. Moving across now, we see in the yellow helmet colours on the outside, that's Scott Nichols, currently very much in form. 75 points out of the last 78 away from home. And we missed the man in white there, Chris Louis, the Great Britain captain, there in gate 3, runner-up in the British Grand Prix in '99. Remember, the format is such that if you finish 3rd and 4th in 2 successive races, you're eliminated. If you finish in the first 2, you march on to the next stage. You join the top 8 for the German Grand Prix, compete in 11 onwards. We know that Scott Nichols, we saw him last week, racing for Ipswich. He's going for the outside. He's only got 3 points away from home in his last 5 meetings. That's some form, and he should like this track. Track conditions well nigh perfect. Our start marshal there is Terry Elliott, who does the job down the road at Newport. People march away. Our referee, Tony Steele, lifts the tape bar for the way they fly. It's Brian Anderson from the inside, but coming across, it's Scott Nichols to pick it up the brick, down the back straight. A crowd are roaring, and Scott Nichols takes it away from Brian Anderson in blue. It's Niklas Klingberg, and the back in white is Chris Louis. But what a ride by Scott Nichols.
Yeah, Scott Nichols, I would have put my money on him before the match. The way he's just gone out of that start, so determined. He's leading now from Brian Anderson, and he's just hanging on to that lead, and he's looking oh so strong.
Many would have bet against the man coming across from the outside gate to pick it up on the very first bend in the very first heat here in the Millennium Stadium. But we know the fabulous form of this man, Scott Nichols, the 23-year-old, at the moment, going into the last lap with some comfort. Scott Nichols looks to be taking this heat and marching on to the next stage. Pursuing him is Brian Anderson, the Dane. Disappointment at the back for Chris Louis, who will have to go again. In one position, Niklas Klingberg will do. A great ride by Scott Nichols to take it ahead of the man in red, Brian Anderson. 3rd in blue is Niklas Klingberg. Last place and disappointment for Chris Louis. The British fans are cheering on one count for a marvellous ride by that man there, Scott Nichols, the in-form rider in the British Elite League. Disappointment, though, for his clubmate and colleague, Chris Louis, the man who was racing in the white helmet colour. But what a ride by this man, Scott Nichols, all the way from the tapes.
Yeah, just look at that. The track is so wide here on the starting gate. Scott Nichols on the outside, gate 4, yellow helmet. That front wheel just off the ground there, just perfect to that first corner. And just manages to pull across the front of Brian Anderson. Now, at this point, it looks as though Scott is going to miss the corner, pulls back to the inside and stops Brian Anderson's run round the inside there, but Scott just pulled away. It is a long way from the outside down to the inside. Certainly in Heat 1, you've got to get across right down to the white line, stop all the opposition, jack them all up on the inside on the first turn. Scott Nichols did exactly that. There we go, down the back straight, and I'm sure these riders are so excited to be here tonight, and to get that first heat out of the way is so important.
Well, a marvellous ride indeed by Scott Nichols. What a performance from him. The result shows Scott Nichols winning it ahead of Brian Anderson. Both of those march on respectively to heats 7 and 8. Nicholas Klingberg and Chris Lou will have another go. And in those heats 5 and 6, they will want to avoid the last 2 places to stay in the meeting. Colourful in the extreme here because, well, the goal's much away. We move on to heat number 2 here, where that man is Carl Stonehuer. We heard Kelvin Tatum talking about the cheers, and Arthur Workington with us here tonight. Well, there are people that made coach trips from all over the country, across the Severn Bridge and down on the M50 as well off that M6. That man in yellow there is Martin Dugard. They made it up from Sussex. Here's the current holder of the British Grand Prix title, of course, Martin, who won the title at Coventry last year. He goes in yellow and black and will go from outside. That man in white is another Brit, Andy Smith, the 3 times British champion, the 35-year-old. And, well, the odd man out in this one. The man in the blue helmet colours is Peter Protasiewicz from Poland. But there'll be cheers for the Brits in this one, Peter.
Yeah, I must say that the track is really holding up well. They've got the base down really hard. There's Protasiewicz going round to the start. Workington favourite there. Carl Stonehuer off gate 1.
Well, Carl Stonehuer, we know, the Premier League Riders Champion, covering, cheering, the fans cheering him on from all parts of Britain here. But there are divided loyalties. We have Andy Smith, who rides for Bellevue. He's the man in white. Martin Dugard, who rides for Eastbourne in yellow. And he's red Carl Stonehuer for Workington. And, well, Peter Protasiewicz, the Pole, who goes in blue, the 26-year-old 1997 World Under-21 champion, is that man in blue. Carl Stonehuer goes from gate 1 on the inside. Peter Protasiewicz in blue from gate 2. Gate 3 is the 35-year-old Andy Smith. On the outside, British Grand Prix winner last year, Martin Dugard. That's the lineup. Looking across the tapes. 40,000 fans also here in this Millennium Stadium are really loving this already, and they've only seen one heat. Here goes heat number 2. The tapes fly up. Dugard flies from the outside to come across. Picks it up, edged down by Stonehuer. Dugard and Stonehuer battling. Stonehuer down the back straight. A brilliant ride by that young man from Workington. Just the start he wanted. Dugard in his wake. These were back being the first 2. Yeah, it's so important to get a good first ride under your belt. Carl Stonehuer there. Marvellous, magic first start, first corner. And now just pulling away from the opposition. 2 men at the back. Protasiewicz, the Pole in the blue helmet colours. The man in white right at the back is Andy Smith. But look at them out front. Carl Stonehuer stole the march on Martin Dugard. But Martin Dugard, better safe than sorry. He knows that a second place here in this one will help him march on to the next stage of the event. And with a lap to go, Carl Stonehuer looks set to win heat number 2. It will save him. It will mean if he finishes first or second in his next race, he'll be through to the main event. That's how it works out here in the Grand Prix. But cheers with Carl Stonehuer in red. In second place in yellow is Martin Dugard. Third in blue is Peter Protasiewicz. A brilliant ride there by Carl Stonehuer. And, well, ahead of Martin Dugard. What a marvellous performance that was. And Martin Dugard will be quite pleased to finish behind this man, Carl Stonehuer. Well, the winner of heat number 1 was Scott Nichols. He's with Jonathan Green.
Well, Scotty Nichols, that was exactly the start you wanted, but you came from the outside, and that's a tough place to come from.
Yeah, sometimes the outside can be an advantage, but not normally, you know, in the first race. And managed to get across us, you know, a nice start for me. Butterflies are still floating around, but hopefully, if I can have another couple like that, they'll disappear.
Are you happy with the setup? You look very smooth out there.
Yes, I mean, they've done a good job, really, of packing it down hard. I mean, it's a bit slick at the moment, but I don't know when my next race is, so I'll have to have a look and, you know, see what track's going to be like before I make any alterations. But I was happy, you know. I got at the start, and I think, like I said before, the start's going to be the key thing, and I think that's where a lot of the races are going to be won. There's going to be some close racing, but that's going to be the advantage.
Well, you've won the first race here. How was the atmosphere?
Oh, it's unbelievable. You know, before the meeting, sort of a couple of hours before the meeting, you could see that, like, there was a good turnout, and they were making a bit of noise. But then when we went out for the parade, it was just
unbelievable. So nice to get a win like that. I couldn't hear my engine properly, so but it's good.
You better go and check it. Thanks for talking to us.
Okay, thanks.
So the result of that second heat, Karlsson ahead of Martin Dugard, and it means a couple of Brits will be in opposition in the next race. The third place there going to Peter Protasiewicz of Poland. It means that Protasiewicz and Andy Smith once again will have to go in the next race that they compete in. It's 5 and 6 between them, looking to finish in the first two, or they can go home. We move on now to heat number 3. The man in blue there is Jason Crump, who's already twice won a British Grand Prix title. The Australian, many believe that he could take the World Championship this year. Jason Crump, lots of fans for him down here because he was born down in the West Country. He was born at Bristol, and his father Phil, who is here, rode in his heyday both for Bristol and for Newport, and he's got problems, Peter, clutch adjustments.
Yeah, he's just adjusting that clutch. I saw him coming back there to his mechanic, just screwing those springs in, more pressure on the clutch, hoping to make a lightning start there.
Well, Matty Furrion also in this heat, the Intercontinental champion. We'll be seeing him in the Speedway World Cup. They'll be showing you on Sky Sports the first week in July, as Slovenia have qualified for the final stages of Speedway's World Cup. We'll be seeing that man too, Jason Crump, of course, twice British Grand Prix winner, the Australian. In yellow and black we saw Henrik Gustafson there. Plenty of activity. Well, the girls, as always here, playing their part, one for each colour at the starting gate. Matty Furrion, that man in blue, goes for the inside, the current Intercontinental champion from Slovenia. Gate 2 in blue is Jason Crump, twice a British Grand Prix winner, the Aussie who rides, of course, for Kings Lynn. Gate 3 in white, that's Mikhail Carlson, the 94 World Under-21 champion, disappointing certainly in Berlin. And on the outside is Henrik Gustafson, twice a Swedish champion, started the season with Bellevue in the British League, often flattered to deceive in this Grand Prix series, but the players part here. Our starting marshal Terry Elliott there once again. He walks away. Tony Steele lets the button go and picking it up well in blue. Jason Crump goes to the front. Round the outside goes Henrik Gustafson to shadow him. Gate 3 in white. Mikhail Carlson holding it there. And at the back is Matty Furrion. But a great start by Jason Crump.
Yeah, Jason's very determined. He didn't have a good GP in the first one in Berlin. So important to make a good start here in his first heat. But again, great start and being chased by Henrik Gustafson, the surprise package.
Well, Jason Crump may have been disappointed with 16th place in Berlin, but halfway through this race, well, when the big guns clash later on, Jason Crump looks as if he will match them with every turn of the wheel. A big following here with his dad, Phil, in the pits, who rode for Newport. The cheers around the stadium are more than genuine for Jason Crump out front. Ahead of him, second place, Henrik Gustafson in that yellow helmet colour. Third man in white, Mikhail Carlson, who will have to go again. At the back in red and disappointing is Matty Furrion, but the checkered flag goes to the man in blue. That's Jason Crump. Second place in yellow, Henrik Gustafson. Third place in white, Mikhail Carlson. It means that Karlsson and Furrion will have to go again. And marching on with a vengeance will be Jason Crump and Henrik Gustafson. A great win by Jason Crump there. And from gate 2 from the tapes, well, Jason Crump certainly made it where it counted to that first bend. The Australian fans in this crowd at the Millennium Stadium are delighted as they were at the cricket today just along the road. But a great performance all the way from tapes.
We saw Jason Crump there adjusting that clutch. You can see him there just release it with his fingers. 2 little goes there with the fingers. Just about enough traction to get to that corner first. Just ahead of Matty Furrion on the inside. And from here on in, it was a good win from Jason Crump.
A marvellous win by Jason Crump, but the Brits are going well, and Carl Stonehuer is with Jonathan Green.
Well, Stoney, what a great start, and from the inside, just what you wanted.
Yeah, you know, superb really. I made a good start, and Martin made a good one with me as well, alongside me before going into the corner. And I don't know, I just seemed to get the drive and the run, it was superb, and I come out in the corner in front, and I just seen the crowd, and it's like awesome out there it is. And the track's so good and hard as well, it's done a real good job with the track. And then we're coming out of the last corner, going across the finish line, I could just hear the crowd and that, which is pretty unusual really, but it's echoing a fair bit out there.
In terms of your preparation now, you're in a good position. Will the track change, do you think?
Yeah, well, I'm not out. I've been told red in heat 8, so there's another 6 races to go, 5, 6 before mine. So the track's going to change, just have to keep my eye on it. Pit crew, you know, they'll be watching and getting ready to make changes, hopefully they'll be the right ones.
Well done again, all the fans are here watching you. Best of luck.
Thank you, cheers. See you later.
So the result of heat 3, a good win for Jason Crump, Henrik Gustafson in second place. Heat 7 and 8 beckon for them. Mikhail Carlson and Matty Furrion will have to go again. as we move on now to heat number 4, where that man in blue, a former world champion, of course, back in 1996, that's Billy Hamill from the USA. In red on the inside, the current world champion, Mark Laram. Of course, half the stadium cheering for the 30-year-old, three-time British champion too. That is Jimmy Nilsson, desperately disappointing. Of course, before in Berlin, he's had bike problems already, Jimmy Nilsson, and of course they have 2 minutes and he has 35 seconds remaining to get on his way to tapes. The clock on the start line counts down for that man, Jimmy Nilsson. The man we missed out in the white helmet colour is Rune Holter, 5 times the Norwegian champion, who goes from gate 4. But there is Jimmy Nilsson. He's made it, I can tell you, with 18 seconds to spare for that man, Jimmy Nilsson. There's the lineup. Mark Laram, the current world champion, on the inside in red. Gate 2, another former world champion, Billy Hamill. Gate 3, Rune Holter from Norway. On the outside, Jimmy Nilsson, the Swede. A great performance, a great meeting so far. We've already had 3 heats. There are 21 more to come at least. Now Starling Marshall moves away with a purpose, away they go. Billy Hamill tries to keep it down. Cutting across from the outside is Jimmy Nilsson, for whom the change of bike worked. Mark Laram battling in second place with Billy Hamill. 2 world champions. Down goes Hamill in the blue helmet colours, putting his bike down at the back to avoid that accident. Was Rune Holter. And our referee, Tony Steele, will have to stop that one. We'll have to look to see who he excludes. There is a very sophisticated electronic method of controlling these lights, all designed by Glyn Taylor from Perth, a rider who rode with some distinction in this country, and some of the famous charm. And Billy Hamill is the man that's excluded. The man in the blue helmet colours, Billy Hamill. Real disappointment for him as the prime cause of the stoppage, Peter.
Yeah, you can see Billy on the outside there. He just loses it there. Mark Laram was inside him. Billy went down. A difficult decision here from the referee, Tony Steele, but we can see it here. But on the outside there, Billy Hamill's just in the wrong place. Mark Laram's got the racing line, and a good manoeuvre from Rune Holter there to lay the bike down not to cause any damage.
Well, it means an awful lot of work now for that man, Billy Hamill, who's been excluded, because Billy Hamill, the 1996 world champion, disappointing in the extreme in Berlin for him. He finished 15th there. It means he had to start in this series, and it does mean that in his next race he's going to have to come in the first 2 places. He's going to have to do that twice more before the main event if he's going to reach that main event. Well, track conditions, the first spill in competitive speedway on this Millennium Stadium circuit, 287 metres. They've laid down some 1,800 tons of shale in this Millennium Stadium to make Speedway possible. And, well, Billy Hamill looking despondent here. And Billy Hamill, the man that's excluded from Heat 4, and he knows what he's got to do now. Disappointment for him. He just seemed to miss the corner there as he came round on that 3rd bend. And, well, for Billy Hamill, well, he's got another chance, Peter.
Yeah, I think the thing is the track is so smooth at the moment. It's just very, very polished. And, you know, he was just off the line. Mark Laram just pushed him a little bit wide, but Billy really, he's got to go now to Heat 5, and that's going to be difficult for him because he could only have 1 more ride if he doesn't do well in that one.
Well, it wasn't very good for Billy Hamill, but a great start. Heat 3 for Jason Crump. He's with Jonathan Green.
Well, Jason, just what you wanted, a good start for you. How was it out there? I saw you pump your hand in the air afterwards. You're obviously pleased with that.
Yeah, well, it's my first race win in the Grand Prix this year, so I'm pretty happy that I remembered how to do it.
You're ever the analyst. What will you change to your bike for the conditions tonight?
It's a bit slicker than it was in practice yesterday. A bit harder. You know, they rolled it pretty hard, and we'll probably just detune, if anything, really, and try and get the power on the ground a bit easier.
Is it all about the starts? It's a very short track, a bit like Wolverhampton.
Yeah, I'd say it's pretty much to do with the starts, but you know, you never know. I mean, the caliber of rider here, you know, anything can happen.
The atmosphere is easy to get to anybody here. How are you feeling about the overall night ahead, because you've had a good start?
Well, I'm glad I'm glad I've got the first race over with. I mean, I don't think I've ever ridden in front of this many people before, so it's pretty nerve-wracking, and I'm glad I did win the first one.
A few Aussies over from the cricket, so I think that's why they're cheering you on.
Well, I hope so, and yeah, you know, that'd be good if they are, and I hope I don't disappoint them tonight.
Well done again.
Thanks, mate.
Well, that fall for Billy Hamill means that he officially gets 4th place in heat number 4, in that heat number 4. It means he will go in heat number 5, fighting for his life against Nicholas Klingberg, Mikhail Carlson, and Andy Smith. Disappointment for the 96th world champion. Well, they're opening the roof here in this stadium. The fans have almost lifted it. just to clear some fog that might descend from the fumes for the bikes and much more. Daylight descending once again in the Millennium Stadium at Cardiff. It only takes about 4 quid's worth of electricity to open that, so pretty powerful, pretty efficient, and, well, for my money, it's unique. The revised start for heat number 4. Remember, with Billy Hamill excluded, they will only go with 3. That man, Ridley Holter, who laid his machine down, the 5-time Norwegian champion, will be going with nobody between he and Mark Aram, who's on the inside. Mark didn't make the start too well first time out. Perhaps, Peter, this time it'll be better for Mark Aram. He's got a bit of space.
Yeah, it's crucial he does. There seemed to be a little hole on that first turn. Jimmy Nilsson caught it going into that turn, and if that develops as we go through the night, that could cause a few problems there. But at the moment, the track is hard and very, very fast.
So there's the lineup for the restart. Mark Aram goes from the inside. The current world champion and 3-time British champion. A blank in gate 2 for Billy Hamill. He, of course, would have worn the blue helmet colours. He's excluded. Ridley Holter, the Norwegian, goes from gate 3 in white, and on the outside in yellow is Jimmy Nilsson, the veteran Swede. Plenty of space for Mark Aram on the inside. Up by the tape, Mark makes it away. Coming across to the outside is Jimmy Nilsson once again. He knows the line. We saw it happen in the opening heat, and it's quite a line to get there. There's plenty of space and plenty of time from the start line of the first bend. And now Jimmy Nilsson with Mark Aram behind him. If they stay like this, Mark Aram and Jimmy Nilsson will march on, and it'll be Ridley Holter, the Norwegian, that will have to go again. This looks some comfort for the 2 men out front. Jimmy Nilsson looking the safe and sure rider we've seen in years past, and Mark Aram now riding with something in reserve.
Jimmy Nilsson is such a good starter, and he made a lightning start there. Mark Aram, the world champion, current world champion, has got no answer to this at the moment, but for Mark, a second place here is good enough to progress through this meeting.
Even time for Jimmy Nilsson to look back. He may have changed his machine, but this one certainly has no problems for the Swede. Although down the back straight, he knows he's got time in hand. Ridley Holter won't catch him, Mark Aram won't catch him. But it means a checkered flag for Jimmy Nilsson in yellow, ahead of Mark Aram in red. Ridley Holter stuttering across the line in white to get 3rd place here. He's got all sorts of problems with his machine, but those fans will be happy, the Brits among them. The former pool pirate was Mark Aram, who finished in 2nd place to move through. Jimmy Nilsson there it was, who won the heat with some comfort from gate 4. And all the Brits we've seen so far, bar Andy Smith, have finished in the first 2, which means they go through to the next stage. The veteran Andy Smith, of course, all too frequently we see him going through the challenge. But Mark Aram from the start there, Peter, he held it down behind Jimmy Nilsson.
Well, Mark hadn't got Billy Hamill next to him, so that made a big difference. He makes a good controlled first corner, but from the outside, Jimmy Nilsson's just come across there. A little bit of grip there on the inside that Jimmy just used to his advantage. Mark also went through it. They're both learning this track in their first ride. So important early on to get the feel of it.
Well, they've all got the feel of the track, the first 16 riders. The Brits are going quite well in front of a packed house here at the Millennium Stadium. Speedway as we've never seen before, and plenty more coming up after the break.
In fighting a war, you must go deeper. Take us to 200 meters. Stay stronger. And make any sacrifice to win.
Either you succeed in sinking that ship, or you must see to it that none of us survive.
The pressure's rising.
Request permission to abandon ship! Fly right now, we die!
Matthew McConaughey, U-571, one of 25 movies now showing on Sky Box Office.
Giorgio Armani.
This stylish 3-seater leather sofa is half price. One of the amazing savings in the Court Serious Summer Sale. Now on.
Having a nationwide current account can make quite a difference. You want to go surfing on a weary Wednesday? Why not? Your current account was the first on the high street to pay interest. And if you need to impress someone, you've had free, easy access to your cash for years. All in all, life's a beach, and never mind the weather. So now can you see the difference? Run entirely for the benefit of its members, nationwide, underlining the difference.
To avoid the daily crawl, call AA Roadwatch on 401 100. Get mobile. Use your mobile.
At the Boots Opticians frame sale, even some designer frames are as little as half what you'd normally fork out.
People have been asking me, where's the catch on this money-back car insurance thingy from insure.co.uk? They say you don't get your money back on car insurance just because you don't claim. Au contraire, I say, there is no catch. Sorry. Every year you'll get the lowest quote from a raft of leading insurers. Stay claim-free for 5 years and you get your first year's money back in full. No catches, no nonsense, no worries. Call now on 08702 43 43 44 and stop looking for the catch. Insure.co.uk, car insurance reinvented and about time too.
The first 4 heats are done and dusted here at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff. The FIM Egg British Grand Prix Round 2 in the World Championship is now well underway. Welcome back to the studio. With me here still are Carl Fogarty, Kelvin Tatum and Gary Havelock. And boys, stood out on the balcony there. We had a bit of a job to prize you back in here, didn't we? What an atmosphere, what a start to the meeting, Kelvin.
Fantastic, you know, the atmosphere. You've had to drag us back in here, Keith, because, you know, all of us, Gary actually made the first move, and I'm really pleased I stood outside there because the noise is sort of echoing around the stadium. You know, and it's electric. The atmosphere is electric.
It's absolutely unbelievable. You go out there and you just can't hear.
Okay, well, we're going to have to cross back in a moment to the commentary team. Let's have a quick word with what Jason Crump had to say. He said it's been rolled very hard. You got a gate pretty quick. It's not quite the track made for Mark Laram, Gary. You said that earlier.
Yeah, I think Mark, you know, unless he gets his gating boots on, he's probably going to struggle here. You know, just surprised me early on that gate 4 seems to be working really, really well, which is a surprise. But Calvin said that yesterday at practice there was a bit of soft stuff up near the fence, so we'll just have to see how that progresses, really.
OK, Carl, first impressions of this Speedway Grand Prix?
No, it's a great atmosphere. He's got all the hairs on the back of the neck standing on end, and 2 British wins so far in a second, so it's pretty good.
OK, well, let's go back to our commentary then. PC and Tony Millard, I'm sure you're well warmed up now, boys.
More than that, Keith, I can assure you. Hairs on the back of our head. Well, we're high up here above these riders in heat number 5. All of them, it's the last chance salon. They have to finish in the first 2 in this heat, otherwise they go home. That man in blue is Mikhail Carlson, the Swede, who finished 3rd in heat 3. He will go from gate 2 in this heat 5. Remember, the last 2 men in this are eliminated, and they get respectively 2 and 1 Grand Prix points. On the inside, Nicholas Klingberg goes in red. Fellow Swede Mikhail Carlson goes in gate 2. Andy Smith, the Brit who rides for Bellevue, goes in gate 3. And Billy Hamill, the former world champion, and he needs this, does Billy, from the outside feeder.
Yeah, the nerves must be unbelievable, knowing if you finish 3rd or 4th, you're going home, you're going for an early bath, and it's the end of your British Grand Prix.
Well, he was a little shaken up in practice when he hit this air safety fence yesterday, Billy Hamill. I spoke to him afterwards, and he said, well, I don't feel too bad, actually. It just shook me up. It was very, very safe. But sometimes there's a little more effect, perhaps. Terry Elliott there, our starting marshal, has to show patience here. Big crowd. They're enjoying this. Away they go from the outside. Billy Hamill picks it up. Hamill darts across and round the bend. Goes round there with Nicholas Klingberg. Klingberg picks it up there. Hamill's down the outside. Not too much space back in 3rd. Mikhail Carlson. Hamill comes under him. Great ride by the former world champion. From the outside to in and back and the slice past Klingberg. Hamill and Klingberg the front 2. Klingberg goes again. A tremendous race.
Yeah, such a good ride here from Billy Hamill. He almost lost it again to Klingberg. Klingberg hasn't given up, but just look at Michael Carlson also on the inside.
Really competitive in 2nd place, where they're riding for their lives here. The 2 Swedes are battling, which has allowed Billy Hamill, the American former world champion, to make it with a lap and a quarter to go. A fabulous race in 2nd place, but Hamill has had good fortune after that ill fortune first time out in heat 4, which was a tragedy for him. But Hamill down that back straight is now showing the quality we know the commentary and USA rider has. Billy Hamill wins it in yellow. Ahead of in 2nd place, Nicholas Klingberg in red. disappointment for Mikhail Carlson in blue and Andy Smith in white. Yet again, those two may go home. They have to be content with the lower places. 2 Grand Prix points for Mikhail Carlson, just 1 for Andy Smith. But what was almost tragedy for Billy Hamill has now turned into triumph as the winner of this heat number 5. The commentary fans, the Americans and many others among us here, sponsored of course by Kenny Roberts. The crowd here enjoying this, and well, Billy Hamill from the tapes had a battle.
Tony, we saw some brilliance there from Billy Hamill. He doesn't make a particularly good start from the outside. He snakes quite a bit there off the start, but he accelerates quite well just to come across. But when he gets to the corner on the inside, Nicholas Klingberg's got the best line. Now Billy's got his work cut out here to try and go round the outside. He's not gaining very much whatsoever as he come onto the back straight, but Klingberg's got the quick line. But Billy does a marvellous manoeuvre here entering the bottom bend. Just watch how he just flicks it inside the back wheel there of Klingberg, makes a tiny straight there, back to the line, and the gap that Klingberg had left is being filled by Billy Hamill as he races towards the finish. But Klingberg never gave up really, he was almost back in there, as did Mikhail Carlson, but we saw a fabulous bit of speedway racing there from Billy Hamill.
Well, a tremendous ride by the former world champion. A great performance by him to take him on to the next stage of this event. Billy Hamill there, winning that heat, and now a slight chance for relaxation before we have to move on to heat number 6, when again it's the last chance. Along there, Billy Hamill finishing ahead of Nicholas Klingberg. Carlson and Smith can go home. One man is still very much with us. Current world champion Mark Naram is with Jonathan Green.
I bet you're glad that's over, aren't you, Monoram?
Yeah, it was good. Weren't the best of starts, but the tracks were all slick, so it's so important to get out of start at the moment.
It's not one of your fortes over the years, is it? So is that in the back of your mind, or will you get round that?
Well, I'll be all right as long as I can get over the first bit of the meeting, because I feel it'll get better.
Well, I know you've got to get back to the next heat. It's a big one too. There's a lot of big riders.
That's right, yeah, it's not going to be easy.
All right, best of luck.
Thanks a lot.
So we move on now to heat number 6. And there, the number 14 in the blue helmet colours, we saw Rennie Holter. Finished 3rd in heat at number 4. And certainly Rennie Holter will want to ride better than that. He finished in what was only a 3-rider heat there, and he finished with machine problems. There is Chris Louis, for whom we clearly want to see something pretty impressive, and we need him to produce the goods here, Chris Louis. It's his last chance. He finished 4th in our opening heat. We look across the lineup now for heat 6. It's Peter Protasevich, the pole on the inside in red. In gate 2, in blue, Rennie Holter. Chris Louis, the Britain captain, goes in gate 3 in white, also the Ipswich captain. Matti Furrier, the top rider in Slovenia, goes from the outside. Remember, the last 2 could go home eliminated. The front 2, they will march on. So, well, our starting marshal once again. The crowd expectant, because every heat is a thriller for them at the moment. Away goes our starting marshal, up by the tapes again. On the inside, Peter Protasevich does well. Coming across though, Matti Furrier in the yellow helmet colours picks it up. Work to do for Chris Louis, because he's right at the back. And the Britain captain could go out, and this he produces a miracle here. He's trying to pick up grip, but he won't catch Matti Furrier out front. He'll have to join that battle for 2nd and 3rd places. In red, Protasevich. In blue is Holter, but Louis looks out of it.
Not good for Chris Louis. Got pushed out on the first turn, but Matti Furrier, we know how good he is when the track's pretty easy to ride. It's like a billiard table out there, and he's just going for it.
Well, I know that Chris Louis isn't in the best of health at the moment. He's suffering from touch and tonsillitis, and well, he's going to disappear out of this, Chris Louis, because he could go home and only be 1 Grand Prix point with a lap to go. The first drama at the Millennium Stadium, because Matti Furrier, who was almost outclassed in his first ride, is winning this heat 6 by a street in the yellow helmet colours, ahead of in 2nd place. Well, it's going to be tight for 2nd place now. Right on the line in red, it's Rennie Holter who wins it. A real surprise there. Rennie Holter gets the drop there ahead of Peter Protasevich in 3rd place. In 3rd place. I just wonder who made that. We'll have to see what the verdict is. Certainly Matti Furrier, the winner, desperately close on the line. We'll have to see how our referee Tony Steele awards this. I think that probably Rennie Holter just about got there. Peter Protasevich was with him in the battle, but Chris Louis certainly eclipsed there. And Peter, well, very much off colour was Chris Louis.
Yeah, the writing was on the wall here for Chris Louis. You can see him on gate 3. He makes a half-decent start there, but he lifts slightly. He looks as though he's going to go for that first turn. Decides against it when we see that Protasevich from the inside takes the run. Chris Louis goes ever so wide there on the pitch turn. Really right off the racing line. But just look at Mattis Verjen in the yellow. What a starting first corner from him. And really, as the race progressed, Rooney Halter had a real big attempt here on the inside of Protasevich. Protasevich held the ground, but Halter managed to nip by on the last turn. We can see that he's got the inside run there when he hits that dirt, almost loses it, but carried on, managed to get that second place there over Protasevich.
Well, certainly it was quite a battle there, and well, there we see efforts in the pits, and we know now that Mark Laram is through. We know there's real disappointment for that man Chris Louis, and well, he'll be ruining that. He's clearly not well. He's suffering from a bit of tonsillitis, is Chris Louis. Drink of water won't go amiss for him, I'm sure, Chris Louis, and disappointment there. Peter Protasevich awarded second place by the referee, ahead of Rooney Halter, but only just it was. It means that Rooney Halter will go home along with Chris Louis. The first 4 riders eliminated are Halter and Louis. Already we've seen Mikhail Carlson and Andy Smith, so 2 of our 4 Brits are out now. As we move on and look ahead to heat number 7, and there in yellow we saw Mark Laram, and this is a really competitive heat, this heat 7, with 3 Brits involved in this. Scott Nicholls will go from the inside, Martin Dugard and Mark Laram the outer 2 places. Jason Crump is in this as well. A world-class competitive field, Peter, for heat 7.
Oh yeah, some big guns in this one, unbelievable stuff, because with Mark Laram in there, current world champion, there he is, heading round towards the start line, but the young pretender, Scott Nicholls, who's just unbelievable, and his form is just outrageous at the moment, winning races like crazy, and also Jason Crump in there, who's on fire. So we're going to have a hell of a race, and Martin Dugard, winner of last year's GP at Coventry, in there as a spoiler, and well, he could win it this year as well.
Well, these guys really could equally have contested the final tonight. I have to tell you, the way it works out, all will get another go, so they probably still could. It will be difficult to work out the combinations, but Scott Nicholls looked absolutely fabulous in his first ride. He went from the outside gate in that one. He's going for the inside in red in this one. The man in blue there, the only non-Brit, Jason Crump, who finished first in heat number 3, and we saw exactly what he could do. He really flew, and he's already won the British Grand Prix twice in the past. As we look across the tapes at the lineup, Scott Nicholls goes for the inside, Jason Crump, gate 2. Martin Dugard in white, the British Grand Prix winner at Coventry last year, goes from gate 3. And Mark Laram, 3 times British champion, current world champion, goes from the outside. Will he like that gate, Peter?
Well, the outside seems to be working real well. We've had 4 wins from the outside gate, so Mark's got that one. So can he make the most of it?
Well, we know what Thomas Gollop could do in that situation, because he drives to that first bend, and we've already seen several people do that. Mark Laram, of course, not the best gaiter. We know his ability to go by. I wonder if he can make the gate this time. He's got a sharp man inside him, Jason Crump in gate 2. Away goes our starting marshal. Crump makes it. Left of the tapes is Martin Dugard, and Jason Crump picks it up. Laram will go round. Oh, look at the man in red. Scott Nicholls lifts, which allows Mark Laram to go through. And now the battle is joined. Nicholls is coming through. What a battle here. In front is Jason Crump in blue. Scott Nicholls is the man in red. World champion Mark Laram in yellow. He goes inside Nicholls. Nicholls almost comes off. No quarter off. None been given. What a speedway race. It's only half over.
Could have been nasty, that one. Mark Laram and Scott Nicholls had a hell of a tangle there, but it's Mark that's got the better of Scotty at the moment. But out in front, Jason Crump's having a great ride on his own.
Well, Martin Dugard has pulled off the track. He will be able to go again as they go into the final lap here. Oh, what a race this is. Jason Crump, it will mean that Jason Crump will march on to the main event, as will Mark Laram. Scott Nicholls has got a puncture now. All sorts of things going wrong at the tail end for Mark Nicholls. Scott Nicholls, but look at the ride there. Jason Crump in blue, Mark Laram in yellow. The world champion is through to the main event. So too is Jason Crump, the heat winner. There are many happy fans. Those supporting Scott Nicholls and Martin Dugard perhaps not quite so happy. They will have another go, respectively, in heats 8 and 9. But 2 big names are joining the main event. 2 men who finished in the top 4 of the Grand Prix last year have won through to the main event here in this boiling cauldron, which tonight is the Millennium Stadium. What a night we're having. What speedway we're having, Peter. Look at this.
Yeah, just look at this manoeuvre here. Jason Crump's just in the lead, not involved. But look here, Mark Laram lifts, catches the curb, bounce off, and then jumps right into the side of Scott Nichols. Scotty did very well to hang on to that bike there. We could have seen those two go down. Again, we can see that angle there. Just look at Mark Laram run right in the side there. Scotty Nichols loses his right leg from the footrest and did so well to recover that. And that was some shock for him because he was right in a commanding position. But brave riding from Mark Laram, who realised so early on that he had to be back to the inside of the circuit. The outside just wasn't working for him. And at the moment, it's hanging your front wheel on that white line.
Well, the most competitive heat yet, won by Jason Crump ahead of Mark Laram, who go through to the main event in heats 11 and 13. Scott Nichols has to go in heat 9, Martin Dugard in heat 10. They still have a chance of reaching the main event if they finish in the first 2 in those heats. That man, Mark Laram, can have a well-deserved breather as he contemplates the main event here at the Millennium Stadium. As we now move on to heat number 8. Again, the first 2 riders will automatically go through to the main event. Well, the next 2, the last 2, will have to go again and compete in heats 9 and 10. And they have to finish in the first 2 there if they're going to get through. This Egg FIM Grand Prix here at the Millennium Stadium. The roof partially open above us. Twilight descending upon South Wales. But there, in yellow and black, we see Henrik Gustafson, the Swede. Inside him in white there is Brian Anderson. But the full lineup, we look across now. Karlsson, who the Brit, goes from the inside in red. Next to him is Jimmy Nilsson, the Swede, in blue. Brian Anderson from Denmark, a former British Grand Prix winner, goes in white. Gate 3 on the outside. It's Henrik Gustafson, the man we've said frequently flatters to deceive, but perhaps this could be his Grand Prix year. He's in it in place of the injured Joe Screen-Oley.
Thousands of Workington supporters here tonight. Can Carlsson keep them happy and fly the Premier League flag?
Leaves the traffic away from Cardiff if they go home early, but I'm sure they won't. Carlsson are here, competitive as any on the inside. Coming across from the outside is Gustafson. Going through in blue is Jimmy Nilsson. Oh, Carlsson is all over the track. He is out, and Carlsson will surely be excluded from this one. He completely lost control of that second bend. That'll make some interesting reading to see that again as our referee looks down at that. But something went radically wrong for Carlsson. He is hurt away on the far side. It looks to me as if he's damaged his right arm or right wrist in that one, Peter. And the Workington fans will want to see it again. Carlsson, they'll be delighted to see on his feet. The referee has excluded Carlsson as the prime cause of the stoppage. It means that Carlsson will have the opportunity, though, to go in heat number 9 against Scott Nichols, Billy Hamill and Peter Protasiewicz for a place in the main event, subject to being fit, of course. But we will be rerunning heat 8 without that man, Scott Nichols.
We can see on the inside, Carlsson, he hit that hole I was talking about earlier on, runs into the back wheel there of the rider in blue, Jimmy Nilsson, and lands very, very awkwardly on that right arm. And I really hope that he's not damaged it, because we really want to see Carl back in the next race when he's in his next qualifier, because he's not going home yet. But the thing is, if he's damaged that arm, it's going to be difficult. But into the corner, we can see, just watch him suddenly catch some grip there, stands on the back wheel, almost takes Jimmy Nilsson with him, and down he goes.
Peter, you mentioned a hole on that bend. The riders are now actually down below us looking at that bend, and that seems to be what Carlsson hit. His back wheel picked up a rut, and it was curtains from then on.
Yes, it was, Tony. We can see that the riders have had a good look at that. It's right on the inside of the circuit, right where you're going to be on the first turn when you go in full throttle.
We understand that Peter Protasiewicz it was who dug that hole doing a practice start, but well, we'll have to see whether it benefits him in the end. Disappointment for Carlsson. We saw his Workington promoter there, Ian Thomas, with him, and Ian is a little bit of a magician on the side, so a little bit of magic from Ian Thomas now to get Carlsson fit and raring to go, and if he is, he will come out again in heat number 9 along with Scott Nichols, Billy Hamill and Peter Protasiewicz, so maybe he could get his own back on Peter Protasiewicz. But there is Henrik Gustafson, the rerun of heat number 8 we're just about to see here. Fabulous atmosphere in this Millennium Stadium. Carlsson, well, it doesn't look too bad, Peter.
He's looking a little bit more like himself, isn't he, Tony? He's moving that arm around. Hopefully he's just going to have a big bruise there and nothing broken, and hope we're going to see him later in the meeting.
Karlsson here, a northerner. They're made of tough stuff up where you come from, Peter.
Oh, they are, Tony. You're dead right there.
Not like us southern softies. A blank space now in the rerun for this heat on the inside for Karlsson here. Jimmy Nielsen, the Swede, goes from gate 2. Brian Anderson, the Danish captain, who we'll see on Sky Sports on Monday in the international between England and Denmark at Wolverhampton. Henrik Gustafson, the Swede, the second Swede in the race alongside Jimmy Nielsen, goes from the outside. Just 3 riders in the rerun of heat number 8. The first 2 will go through to the main event. And, well, the remaining rider, the man who finishes 3rd in this, will have the opportunity of the inside gate in heat 10, battling for the remaining places in that main event. This is heat 8, and 24 heats in total. By the takes it away, they go on the inside. Jimmy Nielsen, 3rd time tonight, he's hit the front straight away. Jimmy Nielsen through in 2nd place in white is Brian Anderson, the Dane. At the rear, it's Henrik Gustafson of Sweden, who will probably have to go again unless he makes ground on the front too. But Jimmy Nielsen almost back to his own self here. We heard, Peter, your description of Jimmy Nielsen in an armchair. He's doing it again tonight.
Well, he's got that old armchair out again. There's no doubt about that. Making good starts, riding the fast line, and when he's on this form, you know, he's very, very difficult to beat. But good ride from Brian Anderson in 2nd place.
Well, he's going faster and faster as Jimmy Nielsen with a lap and a half to go. Looks safe and sure to go through to the main event without any problems at all. Jimmy Nielsen, a Bellevue rider, looks back to see in the white helmet colours Brian Anderson, who also is pretty safe now for the place in the main event. Down the back straight, Henrik Gustafson will have to go again. Disappointment for him, but elation for the man in front, the man taking the checkered flag. In blue is Jimmy Nielsen ahead of Brian Anderson. In white, Henrik Gustafson in yellow will go again. And those two, Jimmy Nielsen and Brian Anderson, Swede and Dane respectively, will go through to the main event. The crowd continuing to enjoy a fabulous speedway meeting, a night they have never seen before. Crazy fans here, they've not raced there for a few years. The Wolves fans are here, we'll be there on Monday. Everybody's here that means anything in speedway. And those, many of them have enjoyed that ride by the Swede, Jimmy Nielsen, to win heat number 8. And Jimmy Nielsen again, super from the start. The crowd are really enjoying the action. So is the man alongside me, Peter Collins.
Yeah, there's Gustafson on the outside. Good start from him really, but he's just not got the commitment to get there. Almost gets across, but when he gets to the turn, Jimmy Nielsen on the inside, and you notice he just rides around the outside of that big rut there. We can see the rut on the inside, and Jimmy Nielsen just goes around the outside of it. Perfect corner. Knew no one was coming inside him, and off for that 1st place.
And Jimmy Nielsen safely through to the main event. We've seen 8 heats here in the Millennium Stadium. There are another 16 to come. The crowd enjoying it. More after the break.
The Masters are back.
Good goal!
Over 300 legends exhibiting their skill and flair. 28 teams of stars competing in 6-a-side football. Kicking off with the Scottish Masters, Aberdeen, Hearts, Celtic and Rangers in the first of 6 regional tournaments.
Tries his luck!
Culminating in the Masters of Britain Grand Final.
Magnificent goal!
The Scottish Masters tomorrow at 7, live and exclusive on Sky Sports 1.
The Citroën Zara Picasso. Free your mind. Celebrate the Zara Picasso's 1st birthday and get a new 1.6i SX including free air conditioning for just $11,980. Only during June.
With 5 different flavours in every box of Skittles mints, you get a new sensation in every mouthful. Cool mint, spearmint, sweet mint, toffee mint, peppermint. New Skittles mints. Taste the rainbow.
Can I have a cheese salad bagel? Lots of mayonnaise, pepper, no salt, no cucumber. Lightly toasted. And a tall decaf cappuccino with hazelnut syrup.
What flavour bagel? What flavour bagel?
Onion.
Now, there are 3 ways to find what you want. The book, the phone, or the net. Whatever you want, just yell.
This stylish 3-seater leather sofa is half price. One of the amazing savings in the Court Serious Summer Sale. Now on.
All Vodafone Pays You Talk customers can now talk and even text from abroad, just like they can at home. You're on holiday. They're not. Rub it in.
Galaxy chocolate and hazelnut praline. New Galaxy Liaison, meant for each other.
Welcome back to the studio. There it is then, round 2, the FIM Egg British Grand Prix. And you join us now in the studio. Still with me, Carl Fogarty, Kelvin Tatum and Gary Havelock. I'm glad I keep you amused, Kelvin. Heat 7, let's crack on. Heat 7, Kelvin, what an absolutely unbelievable race.
Well, how they all stayed on, it was incredible. I think Martin Dugard's bike obviously was off the pace. He had a misfire, but as they came out of the first corner here the first time, they hit a rut. Scotty Nichols, he lifted coming out the corner, and he had fantastic throttle control to keep the bike going forward. But him and Mark had a fabulous ride, and of course Jason Crump actually launched off the start, and he looks in top form.
Well, Scott Nichols, you saw there in red. This is Heat 9 about to happen. I mean, Scott Nichols ended up ultimately with a puncture at the end of the Heat 7 finale. Anyway, let's go back then to our trackside commentators, Peter Clifford and Tony Miller. PC, you were the first one, I think, to spot that big rut in turn 1 that Peter Protasevich laid there with a practice start.
Yeah, if Peter actually did a start there, it was a stupid thing to do because it's right on the racing line, going to cause all kinds of problems.
Heat 9, Scott Nichols on the inside of Karlsson here, 2 Brits, former world champion Billy Hamill from USA, gate 3. Peter Protasevich, the pole from the outside. Last 2 riders go home, first 2 to the main event. This is heat number 9. Away they go, they really fly, picking it up in red. Scott Nichols gets it right this time. Going wide on the back is Peter Protasevich. Coming through in white is Billy Hamill. Left to the back in blue is Karlsson. But look at the man in red, Scott Nichols. Nichols is picking up grip as he goes wide. He's reading the track exactly as he should. And Scott Nichols could qualify for the main event. Billy Hamill is with him. They're the front 2.
Yeah, the very first, very wide line from Scott Nichols there, just to go ahead round that third turn. He's coming under real pressure from the rider in white, Billy Hamill.
Oh, look at that! Billy Hamill could be over and out here. The former world champion could be departing from this Grand Prix. He picked up a bump in exactly the same place as the previous incident. They will have to do something about the track at that point, because Billy Hamill's tumble there has made the referee Tony Steele exclude him. That's a definite decision, and Billy Hamill is out of this round of the Grand Prix, and the medical staff are worried, the fans are worried, and Billy Hamill on that pitch bend hit a rut. He catapulted in to the man in front, Scott Nichols, who'll be desperately disappointed because he started so well. Scott Nichols was going well, but Billy Hamill has been excluded by our referee Tony Steele. A real tragedy for the former world champion. The USA rider took a perler in practice, and now he's done it again here. Peter, real disappointment.
Yeah, Billy was really going for it there. He was trying to get by Scott Nichols, but he tangled with the bike. He didn't get away from the bike. You know, if you go down with the bike, you've got to try and get off it, but he just tangled with it and didn't really leave it until they sort of stopped all the momentum. And he's a real tough man, we know that. He's had some horrendous crashes in the past, and it looks to me as though he's already sitting up, and it looks as though he's going to be walking back. I really hope so. Again, we can just see that. I'm sure it's that rut on the inside of the turn, and he runs right in the side of Scott Nichols' bike, and down he goes head first.
While the lads in the studio were looking down on that bend, tragedy for Billy Hamill. He now only has 8 Grand Prix points from 2 meetings. Keith, you and the lads. That looked dreadful.
It did look just as dreadful from us. We're just above it. But Billy Hamill on his feet then and walking back and on his way home as well. That'll be bad luck for him. Kenny Roberts is here tonight too. So Billy Hamill, great to see him okay. Carl Fogarty here in the studio with us. He's on his way home. It's quite a harsh situation, isn't it?
It is very harsh. It's incredible, really. It's nice just getting going. He's out of it, and in a way, it's just interesting to listen to the two boys here for the bits of advice and tips on how the track's changing, how it's getting the ruts, and this is what probably caused the accident too with Billy.
It's incredible, isn't it, that I mean, I was in exactly the same position as you not so long ago. I had to rely so heavily on Gary and Kelvin to actually fill us in on the subtleties of speedway racing and how the things change. Kelv, that track, I mean, we've mentioned that Peter Protasevich did the start. I think it was Gary that brought us to that earlier on. I mean, what on earth possessed him to put a great rut like that in the middle of the turn?
Well, you'd only have to ask him that. It's a daft thing to do, and I can't understand it. But for Billy in that race, he had second place tied up. He only had to finish the race. He was into the main event, you know, and all of a sudden now he's got to put the bikes back in the van and go home.
And Billy is always a potential winner, Gary, isn't he? If he can make it through to the main event, the guy can still win the Grand Prix.
Yeah, there's no doubt, but there's certain riders looking down the GP, certain riders like Billy, like Tony Ricardson, like Jason Crump, who are death or glory riders, and it's all or nothing. You know, there's no second place in every race of the rider. I mean, it's either, you know, win at all costs, and Billy was certainly going for it there, and he got caught out with one of them big ruts.
Good thing about this, though, Keith, is that Stonehill was at the back, Carl, and it has given him a second chance, because all of a sudden now he can make amends, try and get into the first two, because, you know, it's vital to get in those first two. He particularly wants to make the main event.
Every cloud has a silver lining. In this case, it's Carl Stonehill, and I'll make sure I get Peter Collins' name right when I throw back to him this time. Tony Millard and Peter Collins at trackside.
Well, he still is the same man next to me, the former world champion, and we've got, of course, Ben from Britain in this one, in red and blue there. But we've been delighted to see that man in yellow, considered by some to be the villain of the piece with that rut. I seem to remember a rut that caused a few problems at Coventry in the British Grand Prix a year ago, but we'll talk perhaps more about that later. There's the lineup. Scott Nicholls on the inside of Carl Stonehill, the two Brits. A blank space in white there, where Billy Hamill has gone home with his grand total of just 8 points at 2 Grand Prix. On the outside, Protasevich, away they go. The pole comes across. Nicholls takes him out. Will it allow Stonehill to go through? Perhaps a bit of team riding for the Brits. Yes, Stonehill goes into second place, taking Protasevich wide. Scott Nicholls out front is on his way to the main event with Brits 1 and 2. The Millennium Stadium is making a noise. They're enjoying this, Peter.
A lot of noise from the Workington fans. A good ride here from Carl Stonehill to grab that second place from Protasevich. Protasevich will be going off to the bats hopefully after this one.
While Peter Protasevich has competed in 4 British Grand Prix and yet to make the main event if he doesn't here. He's making ground though with Carl Stonehill. Stonehill will have to look out with a lap and a bit to go. Oh, tragedy for Scott Nicholls. Scott Nicholls has packed up. Scott Nicholls, a real tragedy for a rider going so well. Disaster for him. Oh, what a pity. But no, this man, Carl Stonehill, takes the checkered flag in blue. Second place in yellow, Peter Protasevich. And tragedy for Scott Nicholls, who was going so well. We fancied his chances of the main event, and Scott Nicholls will go off, dare I say it, perhaps a tier or two under that helmet for the Ipswich rider, who was looking so good, and in the end has limped into the pits, metaphorically, for his fight. That man in blue, though, the fans from Workington are loving this, because if ever there was a fighter, it's Carl Stonehill, the winner of heat number 9, ahead of Peter Protasevich. As they say in horse racing parlance, only 2 finished. And one of them was that man, Carl Stonehill. The crowd in the Millennium Stadium, some 40,000. What a night for Speedway. 9 of our heats have gone. And, well, those fans are enjoying each and every one of them. Plenty more still to come, Peter.
Well, Tony, on the start, Peter Protasevich makes a good start from gate 4. He looks across, but Scott Nicholls has got a good first corner. He misses that rut there, as does Carl Stonehill. Now, Carl does a great move here, cuts so low to the line, with a little bit of grip down there, and just propels himself past Protasevich as they enter the bottom bend here. Protasevich is just a little bit wide, and Carl Stonehill is on course for second place. But then we see Scott Nicholls' fight gives up the ghost as he crosses the line with 2 laps to go, and that allows Stoney and Protasevich to carry on for those 2 qualifying positions. But good riding from Carl Stonehill.
Well, Carl Stonehill in the main event, so too is Peter Protasevich. Billy Hamill too, with that crash in the rut on that bend. He too goes home, and disappointment there now. But as we move on to heat number 10, as they say, another heat, another race. And Karlsson here, Michael Lee there on his right. And that's Ian Thomas is working to promoter on his left, discussing the track problems. And, well, I wonder if we're going to hear more about that in the interval. We move on to heat number 10. The man in red there is Henrik Gustafson, the Swede, riding in the Grand Prix Series in place of the injured Brit Joe Screen. That man in blue, gate 2, Martin Dugard, will go again. He, of course, the holder of the British Grand Prix. He will be retiring from Speedway at the end of the year. In white there is Matty Furjan, the Slovenian, who will see in the Speedway World Cup in Poland. Slovenia have qualified. And on the outside, from Team Tatum, is the Swede Nicholas Klingberg. That's the lineup. This is heat number 10, the last before the main event.
Yeah, can you see those ruts there on the start that the bikes made? They're just, the starts are working very well, all quite equal, but to get one of those ruts in the middle of that first turn is just unbelievable.
Well, you certainly don't want that. They'll all be looking to miss it. I wonder if they go a bit wider. Away they go. Heat 10 on the inside. Gustafson picks it. Oh! Bedlam at the back, and the man who suffered most is Matty Furjan. Our referee will surely put all four back in for that one. Matty Furjan looked to be taken down by Martin Dugard in third place as the front two got clear of him, but no doubt at all, I don't think Dugard could avoid that. I don't think it was his fault. I think there was a coming together, as they say, and literally was. First bend bunching in the extreme, Peter. The other two are back at the tapes, and we'll have to wait and see. There's problems with Martin Dugard's machine. The rider in blue, no problems for Gustafson and Nicholas Klingberg, the two Swedes, but certainly problems for those, and there'll be a time put on by our referee, I'm sure, Tony Steele, and there'll be a little while before this because Matty Furjan has to have attention, Peter, from the start.
Well, we can see what happens off the start. It's Martin Dugard in the blue that runs into the side there of Matty Furjan. I think the problem we got there, you can see Martin holding his foot up there. His foot has gone right in the front wheel of Matty Furjan, and you know, that really hurts because there's a lot of spokes in that front wheel, and to get your foot in there when it's turning. We'll just watch this at a different angle, and you can see the contact there. It was the rear wheel, actually. Martin Dugard's foot went straight into the rear wheel of Matty Furjan. Furjan's rear wheel was just demolished from that.
I think Furjan tended to come across and perhaps take a bit of Dugard's ground, but never mind, there'll be a restart for this. Joyous man in the pits is Karlsson. He's with Jonathan Green.
Well, Carl, it's getting rough and ready out there, but you're still in.
Yeah, there's a few ruts appearing on the inside. Everyone's been riding so tight, and they've just dug a big hole. And it's hard work riding in that, and everyone's just picking up now.
How much is it changing in terms of the track? Because they said they need more dirt on the outside. They actually get the grip in there.
Yeah, well, the easiest line, and I was, so lucky really to have won that race. I think I'd in the rerun, I'd beat the pole fair and square, but actual in the, for Scott to break down and me in the pole to take first and second was a bit fortunate, really. But the easiest line is the outside, and there's not much dirt out there whatsoever, so there's probably going to be, rut start pit will appear in.
What about the gates? So you bother where you're coming out of?
Yeah, I made flyer in my first race on my first bike. That's bent on that now, so that we won't be going back out on that tonight. But I'm just digging holes for some reason. The first skate made a flyer, and now I'm just digging holes going nowhere.
Well, let's hope you go somewhere. Dig a hole to somewhere.
Somewhere's got to be done, yeah. Might find a pot of gold at the bottom, you never know.
Well, we're all wishing for it. Look, good luck.
All right, cheers.
Well, a big following indeed here for Karlsson, the Brits are certainly getting some support. Martin Dugard is on his feet. He went down as well. So there are still survivors here. Remember, we started with 6 Brits in this. Fitzlouis and Andy Smith are out. The remainder are hanging on. Attention there to machinery, certainly there. And one of the Brits still in is our world champion, Mark Laram. He's now with Jonathan Green.
Mark, again, sense of relief, but you had to fight all the way for that one.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I was just lucky that I cut back and Scotty missed the rut, and I got my back wheel in it and caught him unawares a bit because he wasn't in it. I catapulted through and managed to get through the gap, but that's the way the track is at the moment, I'm afraid.
You did come together, and he got the worst of it. Obviously, he managed to stay on, but was there a moment there where you were a bit worried that you'd lose your balance?
Well, no, because I had my wheels in line. I knew I'd be all right, but then he was obviously trying to cover the inside, and there wasn't a lot of room there, but unfortunately, with the holes, it's not like I could do. I mean, if it had been the other way around, I'm sure the same thing would have happened, and what can you do? It's a pretty hard cutthroat out there.
How's the track changing? Because now, obviously, Sweet 16 is getting a bit more important in terms of you now. Have you got a good idea of now how you can race this track and get some lines that you need to get the win?
And all I'm hoping is that people can, later on, some riders can ride out wide, and then we don't have to all go through the holes. So that's the biggest worry at the moment.
Enjoying it?
No.
Best of luck.
All right.
Well, Mark Ram's not quite sure whether he's enjoying it. There's a little bit of pressure on him. That man there in blue is Martin Dugard, who we know is a wild card here and won the British Grand Prix last year. But a man in form is Jason Crump, and he's with a very busy Jonathan Green.
Oh, Jason, well done. That's exactly what you needed. Has the track changed at all?
Yeah, it's actually rutting up a fair bit on the inside, middle, from about the middle on out of the corner. It's getting some pretty serious ruts there, but same for everyone.
You may not have been aware of the battle behind, but it was quite intense, and it looks as though Mark is getting a couple of different lines in there. Do you think that will happen as the race goes on, or as the meeting goes on?
I had a couple of looks behind me, but I didn't really need to look because I could hear it. I just concentrated on what I was doing, and just tried to get a smooth line. I kind of made a couple of mistakes where I going a bit easy. I was trying to get in the right position by going a bit easy, and it kind of backfired a bit. And then the last kind of lap and a half, I just thought, man, with Mark behind you, just got to give it a lot and hope for the best.
I would have thought a sense of relief for you, because at the beginning of this meeting there were so many big names who had to start in the first stage.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to keep going back to Berlin, but it was an absolute bummer for me, and I'm just glad that it's started off a bit better tonight.
Onwards and upwards, eh?
I hope so.
Done.
So, heat number 10, the restart, and we did have the 2-minute clock on for Matty Furjan, the man in the white helmet colours, that man in red, Henrik Gustafson, who survived the carnage. The man at the back, Martin Dugard, doing a quick turnaround, has 18 seconds to come up to Tates. Martin Dugard, the holder of the British Grand Prix. Remember, the last two riders in this heat are eliminated. The first two go on to the main event. So Martin Dugard, that man in blue, will be looking to finish in the first two to have a chance of retaining his title. In white, Matty Furjan goes from gate 3. On the outside, Nicholas Klingberg goes in the yellow helmet colours. Away they go in red. Henrik Gustafson kicks it down. Martin Dugard picks it up in second place behind the man in white, Matty Furjan. The two at the back and the two at the front last time out at first attempt. And now it means that Klingberg and Gustafson are going to have to do work to stay in this Grand Prix. But Matty Furjan has kept clear of the problems. Martin Dugard has as well. Gustafson goes wide. Klingberg's in third place. And, well, it's not looking too bad for the two out front, Furjan and Dugard.
Matty Furjan's looking very fast, but if Martin Dugard can hang on to that second place, that'll do him nicely. But certainly Nicholas Klingberg had to go early on, and Gustafson's been in there as well.
Well, it could be the two Swedes will be going home unless some work is done in this one. Martin Dugard now being put under pressure in second place as we go into the final lap. No such pressure on Matty Furjan. Dugard's going wide, and now he's got work to do. Dugard went wide, and that allows Klingberg through. Dugard will come again. Disappointment for him. In white, though, Matty Furjan wins it. In second place in yellow is Nicholas Klingberg. Martin Dugard, the holder of the British Grand Prix title, will not be retaining that crown. In third place, he may go home without making the main event. But, well, a great performance out front by Matty Furjan. Consolation for the man in yellow, Nicholas Klingberg. Henrik Gustafson can go home. Disappointment again for the man who started the season with Bellevue and has ridden in many, many Grand Prix. But triumph for the man from Slovenia, Matty Furjan, as the winner of Heat 10 and through to the main event. Matty Furjan certainly enjoying it, as are this big crowd. They're enjoying minute by minute, lap by lap, at every turn of the wheel, Peter.
Well, we can see Martin Dugard just catches a bump there, goes very, very wide and loses, well, certainly that very important place, and Nicholas Klingberg. Nicholas didn't make a mistake there. He was just waiting to grab that with both hands, and Martin Dugard now just off the racing line there. Far too much sideways. Again, we can see that instance on the pit corner, sorry, and just completely out of the picture there, and that allowed Klingberg to go by to follow Matty Furjan home for that second qualifying place.
Well, certainly a fine ride by Matty Furjan, the Slovenian, or 5-time Slovenian champion, ahead of Nicholas Klingberg. Those two go through to the main event. Martin Dugard and Henrik Gustafson, they can go home and contemplate a visit to this fabulous Millennium Stadium. Everybody here is enjoying it. There are 14 more heats to come. Those are coming up after the break.
Coming up on this week's Boot Camp Tuesday.
The ultimate battle of the sexes becomes a tale of revenge.
It wasn't confidence, it was arrogance. You were not a team player. There's no such thing as a team player. And Whitlow, I didn't trust.
Convicted and caught on tape, prisoners out of control at 9.
Action!
I'm ready. And at 10, Van Damme faces death in Bloodsport.
Watch Boot Camp Tuesday from 8 on Sky 1. Switch.
The Citroen Zara Picasso. Free your mind. Celebrate the Zara Picasso's first birthday and get a new 1.6i SX including free air conditioning for just $11,980. Only during June.
I know you must find this very startling, but I would try to explain, but I'm not sure that you'd believe me.
Hello? It's all right, I've got my mobile. Just needs charging. Can you show me where your points are?
Sometimes I think the whole world is mad and I'm the only sane one.
Please, Jerry, shut up.
Yeah, put a sock in it, love.
Bore da, Akla Eagle, 3 points of Oron.
Repeat after me. Bore da, Akla Eagle.
Acqua di Gio, Giorgio Armani.
Welcome back to the British Grand Prix from the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff. Well, the main event is about to get underway, but first, Jonathan Green in pit lane is with the man that is behind the development of Grand Prix Speedway, John Poppleway.
Yeah, the main event might be about to start. The man who's had a few sleepless nights, I can tell you, about creating all this. I wonder, is your dream fulfilled here?
It's just starting, Jonathan. It's fantastic.
It's so funny when everybody saw the pictures in the magazines about what it would look like. It was all like very much an artist impression, but it's even better than that, it seems.
I think it is. I mean, the track, it's a bit like a giant speedway stadium. It's not like a rugby stadium. And it really shows the flexibility of the stadium and what a great job people like Ollie and Terry Russell have done in converting it.
As we're live, I'm going to put you on the spot. There's been no complaints from the riders. Everybody's smiling. Everybody's saying good things. There must have been something that has gone wrong so far.
There's been a few things, but we'll keep those to ourselves, Jonathan.
What's next?
What's next is the World Cup in 3 weeks' time in Poland.
And what about the Grand Prix itself? Will it get bigger? Where are you expecting to go next?
Yeah, I think so. We're hoping to add 2 Grand Prix next year. And by the time all these guys have gone home and told everybody how great it was tonight, there'll be 60,000 people here next year.
All right, fantastic. Well, that's a good prediction. Well, the main event is about to begin. My thanks to John Poppleway. Let's get back to the commentary now.
For heat number 11, the first of the main event. Remember that Speedway World Cup will be live on Sky. 5 days action in 7 days, live from Poland, starting on July the 1st. But here now, back to the British Grand Prix. The best Grand Prix ever, without a doubt. A fabulous atmosphere, a great stadium. And as John Postlethwaite said, I just wonder who would imagine this was a rugby ground and not a natural speedway arena. Heat number 11, that man in blue there is Greg Hancock, the American 97 world champion. In white, Jason Crump, who won heat number 7 to win through to this stage. Twice a winner of the British Grand Prix. In yellow, Nicholas Klingberg, who finished second in heat 10 to get his way through to this race. Nicholas Klingberg, the Intercontinental champion last year, riding for Team Tatum. On the inside, though, the man himself, Thomas Golov, the German Grand Prix winner. 6 times a Grand Prix winner in 34 Grand Prix events. The highest paid sportsman in Poland, that man in red helmet colour, on the inside. This is heat number 11. We look across from Nicholas Klingberg there. Golov, I wonder if he fenced in. If he makes the start, he'd be away. Away, Golov almost jumps the tape, but certainly jumps into the first bit. Round the outside goes Jason Crump. Crump will surely cut back on the inside. The gap is closed with Greg Hancock in second place behind Thomas Golov. And now Jason Crump has work to do. Hancock is putting Golov under pressure, but the pole, there are plenty of them here, will cheer. Anything could happen there.
Yeah, it's like an earthquake coming from the Polish fans. Now we've got Thomas Golov out on the track, and he's winning ahead, but Jason Crump did a marvellous manoeuvre to get by Greg Hancock.
Yes, Jason Crump found space from nothing to come through into second place. I wonder if he could win his third British Grand Prix tonight. The man who was born across the 7 in Bristol is now putting Golov under pressure on the inside. But Golov looks to have something in hand as he goes round that pitch bend. And with some 200 metres to go, the winner of the German Grand Prix is set for a heat victory. First time out here in the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff. Thomas Golov in the red helmet colour wins it ahead of in white Jason Crump. Third in blue is Greg Hancock. He will have to go again, as will Nicholas Klingberg, who finished in last place. Not a great night for the Americans, but Thomas Golov and Jason Crump there showing class personified. Both reckon to be among the top 8 riders in the world. And Thomas Golov there has the cries of Poland behind him. He'll be mighty popular in that Speedway World Cup. And he's a winner here of heat number 11, Thomas Golov.
Yes, Golov made a fabulous start there. He rode very wide on the first turn. He avoided all those bumps. He knew they were there. He really must have been watching what's going on. Jason Crump there up into second place. Great move there to slip by Greg Hancock, but again on the first turn we can see that Thomas Golov completely under control. Just look at that grip there, halfway around the corner. He's standing on the back wheel. In fact, the front wheel's about 3 inches off the track there. Covers the inside again down the back straight, and the first time we've seen him here tonight, and he's on fire.
Well, certainly Thomas Golov's victory there means that next time out in heat 17 he'll go from the inside, finishing ahead of Jason Crump, who will go in heat 18. Greg Hancock and Nicholas Klingberg will have to try again to remain in this British Grand Prix here. And there is Thomas Golov, who now has a chance to have a little break, a little rest, and perhaps think and watch what the other riders do in the remaining heats as we now move on to heat number 12. This heat number 12 in red there is Nicky Pedersen, the Dane. Well, twice he's finished as runner-up in Grand Prix, and that man in red is Nicky Pedersen. With him in blue will be Ron Sullivan going from gate 2. We move across the starting line up here. Rider there, number 17 is by Jimmy Nilsson, and on the outside in yellow is Peter Protasiewicz. Peter, this is going to be competitive.
Yes, it is. Nicky Pedersen, who almost won the GP, the first one in Berlin. He's off gate 1, and he's got Ryan Sullivan next to him. Jimmy Nilsson in white. He's a real trapper, as we've seen him in the pre-event. It's going to be a real tough one.
Well, Peter Protasiewicz knows what it's like to go from the outside and hits the man. They reckon caused that rut on that pitch bend. I hope he can avoid it himself. Nicky Pedersen going perhaps a little bit wide from the inside gate, wider than some have gone. But that man there is Peter Protasiewicz, wearing the number 16, the 26-year-old Pole, in his British debut in 1998 when he raced for Kings Lynn. Doesn't race the British League now. Tony Steele, the referee above us, an Englishman. Away they go, and on the inside trying to keep it down is Nicky Pedersen, but it's Jimmy Nilsson that comes across, and Jimmy Nilsson looks back to his best tonight. And round the outside in yellow goes Peter Protasiewicz, but a real battle in second place, Nicky Pedersen. Protasiewicz will go wide. Pedersen can't pick up the grip, the challenge. but will try to do so now, leaving Jimmy Nielsen out front to make it on his own. Protasevich is all over the track, goes almost into the fence, and that allows the man in red, Nicky Pedersen, to come through into second place.
Yeah, Jimmy Nielsen's looking so strong, so much of a lead heading out in front there. Behind him there, Nicky Pedersen's having a good ride too, and Protasevich was all over the place at one point there, Tony.
Well, Jimmy Nielsen now has the finishing line in his sights with just over a lap to go, the Swede in the white helmet colours, with Nicky Pedersen. Well, twice he's done well in the 3 Grand Prix he's taken part in. Could this be a third time out of 4? Jimmy Nielsen takes the checkered flag in white. Nicky Pedersen in second place in red. Third is Peter Protasevich in yellow. Ron Sullivan disappointing in last place in blue. Both of those will have to go again. And now, well, the first two certainly in Jimmy Nielsen and Nicky Pedersen looking good, looking impressive, and a manoeuvre on the third lap there for the man in red, Nicky Pedersen, counting. Well, certainly the crowd enjoying it, and the start again was pretty important in that one.
It was there, out in front, Protasevich there. Actually, he's in second place, so Jimmy Nielsen's out in front. Protasevich there, just lifts on that bump there, goes ever so wide, almost tests that air fence for the first time tonight, but on the inside, slipping by Nicky Pedersen, he grabbed that opportunity with both hands. Just watch here, Protasevich's wheel, back wheel, gets all that grip, completely off camber for him there, does really well just to straighten up, catches that kickboard, but he certainly lost the position there from that mistake.
Well, a mistake by Peter Protasevich, but well, the front two will be delighted with their performance there, and moving through with Jimmy Nielsen and Nicky Pedersen. And there we see the manoeuvre as Peter Protasevich struggle. The result of heat number 12, Jimmy Nielsen ahead of Nicky Pedersen go to heats 18 and 17. One step from the semi-finals. Peter Protasevich and Ron Sullivan will go again in heats 16 and 15, respectively. Jason Crump is going well. He's with Jonathan Green.
Well, Jason, that was interesting for a lot of reasons, because you look very fast out there, and obviously Greg made a mistake that allowed you to get through to second.
Yeah, I mean, Thomas wasn't going a million miles an hour himself in front, and it kind of bunched us all up behind. But, yeah, I was just glad I got past Greg in the end. You know, second's as good as a win in some situations.
Still a lot of holes out there?
Yeah, there's getting more, if anything, you know, but we all kind of know roughly where they are now, and we just got to keep out of them.
We're getting to the business end now, and obviously you've had plenty of time to get out there, and the main event's just beginning, in case some of the other guys are now just having their first chance. How do you feel overall?
I feel pretty good, you know. I think I'm riding pretty good, and I feel very good, you know.
2 British Grand Prix already. This is a much bigger event, but what about the chances?
Well, you know, don't rule me out, but there's a long way to go yet. Best of luck. Thanks.
We move on now to heat number 13. That man in the red helmet colours was Tony Carlsson, the 3 times the world champion. In white there, we're looking at the current world champion, Mark Laram, with half this stadium. And that's 20,000 plus people cheering for the 3 times British champion. What a noise, what an atmosphere, what an event we've got here. And well, Tony Carlson knows that he's up against the crowd. He knows that he's up against some talented riders. That's Lee Adams, top of the British Elite League averages currently. Lee Adams is going well for his club, Oxford. The man in yellow there, Matty Puryan, who won Heat 10 to win through to this main event. We have a big speedway meeting. Carlsson from the inside, gate 1 from Sweden. Lee Adams, the Australian from Mildura, goes from gate 2 in blue. Gate 3, the current world champion, 3 times British champion, Mark Laram, now racing for Peterborough. And the 5-time Slovenian champion, Matty Puryan, goes from the outside in yellow. Remember, he was impressive in winning Heat 10 in a difficult race.
Yeah, Matty Puryan's on the outside. There's so much dirt piled up against the start, against the fence, and he's right in that dirt, so he could just rocket from that outside position. Tony Rickardsson off gate 1. The starts are good. We know Tony's such a good starter. It's so crucial that he has a good first ride.
Well, Tony Rickardsson's helmet, not exactly plain red, but I'm sure we can identify that man on the inside. There's a sponsor's logo on the helmet. Sponsorship growing in speedway. Tony Rickardsson makes it away. Lifting on the outside in yellow is Matty Puryan, who loses ground. Coming through in blue on the inside is Lee Adams. It's Rickardsson first, Adams second. Going round the outside in typical fashion is Mark Laram. He can't seem to get the grip, but he is now putting pressure on Adams. Laram goes round, cut short on that bend. Adams will hold it. Laram picks it up again. Adams hit a bump there to allow Laram to go through. All in pursuit of Tony Rickardsson.
A fabulous move from Mark around the outside work for him really well. We know he likes to ride wide. Quite early on, it's been the inside that's been working, but certainly second here will be good enough for him behind Tony Rickardsson.
Well, a courageous ride by Mark Laurent with little space there to take on and go by Lee Adams, but now with a lap to go, Tony Rickardsson in the red helmet colours, my choice for the title here tonight on a lovely speedway track, all 287 metres of it here in the Millennium Stadium, and Rickardsson has put his first notch on the ladder in red, and Mark Laurent in white, third in blue is Lee Adams, and fourth in yellow is Matty Boyan. So Tony Rickardsson starting as a three-times world champion would like to, beating the current world champion Mark Laurent. A battle of champions indeed in Heat 13. The fans thrilled by the efforts of Tony Rickardsson, but also delighted with the efforts of the man in second place, Mark Laurent. It keeps his hopes of retaining his title alive. He certainly did disappoint a little bit, did Mark Laurent, finishing 13th in Berlin. But now who knows whether he can win the British title here. The Swedish flags and the Union Jack there, side by side.
Yeah, what a start for Tony Rickardsson. There in the white, we can see Mark Laurent just doesn't make such a good start on the inside. Tony Rickardsson is right there in that commanding position. You see Tony knows those lumps and those ruts are there. He rides through them perfectly, but Lee Adams rides a great first turn to almost go by Rickardsson. Lee's gone through those ruts and used them to his advantage, but just look in the white. Mark Laurent, he's lined the pair of them up here. He's going for the outside. He's got a load of grip under the kickboard on the fence to catapult him into the corner. He goes so wide. Now he just gets the wheels in line just a little bit earlier than Lee Adams and just sneaks past him, and that's how it stayed.
Well, the result then, certainly interesting there. A win for that man, Tony Rickardsson, ahead of in second place in white, Mark Laurent. Both of them move on. The other two, of course, have to go again. The result then officially declared: Tony Rickardsson ahead of Mark Laurent. He's 17 and 18. Lee Adams 15 and Matty Boyan 16. And Greg Hancock is battling. He's with Jonathan Green.
Well, Greg, I know you've been sort of biting your nails running to get out there, but now you've got out there. How was it?
You know what? Kind of what we've been seeing. The track's starting to cut up quite bad on the inside, and you know, after the interval there, they've graded everything, kind of covered up some of the holes, so it makes it a little bit difficult to see exactly what's there. And first race, I was a little timid, but I know what to expect now.
Little mistake. What happened there? Because obviously Jason got through.
I just sort of went into the corner a little bit too wide, not really sure exactly where that rut was going to be, and Jason, being on the track earlier, knew everything, and he sent up the inside and took advantage of the hole.
I've been watching you race a few years now. You look quietly confident yesterday at practice. Is everything as you want it?
Oh, everything's just fine. I can't complain at all. I just, like I said, I guess I went out there a little bit too timid instead of being aggressive and just hitting it hard in the first race. But I know now the next one will be different.
We're all hyping it up. It's one of the biggest events ever in Speedway, certainly in this country. It's a nice one to win, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's the situation, everybody's all excited about it, and here we are now, and it's right in front of us. The stage is set, and we're here to perform, so I'll give it my best.
You'll be playing to the crowd, I'm sure.
Heat 14, away they go on the inside. Karlsson in red, and man in blue. There is Todd Wiltshire. In white, picking it up is Brian Anderson. Oh, carnage there on that bend, allowing Todd Wiltshire in blue to go through ahead of Greg Balasek. Balasek is in this event for the injured Peter Karlsson. He's battling for second place with Carl Stonehewer, who's in yellow. The man in white is Brian Anderson. Anything can happen yet, but Todd Wiltshire's away down that back straight.
Yeah, this is Balasek's first ride in second place. Carl Stonehewer, it's important he can get by him, but out in front, Todd Wiltshire is having a great ride, but Stoney will never give up. He's going through those ruts on the inside, backs down at the last minute, very, very close.
Well, Carl Stonehewer isn't done yet. Greg Balasek, a £50,000 transfer in Poland in the close season, riding as a second string at the moment for Paul, and certainly showing his worth at the highest level here now, down that back straight. Carl Stonehewer will have an opportunity to come back again. Slowing up on the back is Brian Anderson. He too will go again, but the winner is Todd Wiltshire in blue. Ahead of in red, Greg Balasek, the Polish replacement, here now for Peter Karlsson. Third place in yellow to Carl Stonehewer, who will try again. Brian Anderson trailing in last, but a tremendous performance by that man in blue, Todd Wiltshire from Sydney, showing that he's among the world's classiest riders. Last year, he finished in the top eighth of those. But Todd Wiltshire showing now that he has every ambition. A twice-times Australian champion. Dreadful injuries some 8 or 9 years ago, but now back at his best, that man, Todd Wiltshire. Great effort by him to win that heat. A real battle all the way in Heat 14. The result of which we see now, Todd Wiltshire ahead of Greg Balasek. They go on to Heats 18 and 17. Carl Stonehewer and Brian Anderson will have to go again in the next 2 races. Anderson in Heat 15, Stonehewer in Heat 16 to stay in this event. So, first 4 eliminating heats of the main event. We've seen some top riders through, some surprised, and some still with work to do, Peter Collins.
Yeah, that was a good ride for Balasek there, Tony, because Todd Wiltshire won the race. Great start for him, but Balasek in for the injured Peter Carlsson had a good ride. Todd Wiltshire, I'm sure he's glad to get that one under his belt, the Oxford rider there, and, you know, you can't beat having a good ride the first time, and winning that first heat is so crucial because it really puts you right up there and it puts you in with a big chance.
Well, Carl Stonehewer will have to go in Heat 16 along with Peter Protasiewicz, Nicholas Klingberg and Matti Furjan, and that will give him plenty of opportunity, I think. There are the fans of Carl Stonehewer, and they will be cheering him to the roof in Heat 16. The lads in the studio are enjoying it, I'm sure, and they're pretty busy like us.
You're absolutely right there, Tony. Thank you very much indeed. Still here, Carl, Kelvin, Gary. Now then, I have to say, Gregor Walasek, coming to what Carl has been talking about earlier on, here he is as a substitute because Karlsson's out through injury. Gets straight out there in a heat that he's been obviously seeded through to because that's where Karlsson would have been.
Yeah.
That's a pretty tough order, isn't it, for him? Straight in.
Absolutely, and he did remarkably well.
Remarkably.
Because he, you know, the track's difficult. We've seen guys sort of going all over the place. He's come out in his first ride in this year's GP campaign, and he ran a really good, solid second place.
Interestingly, that a commentary we're talking about £50,000 transfer in Poland.
Really? Yeah. Well, he's obviously hot property, and they have been raving about him. He's had some problems actually with the authorities since he's been in England. He's been fined a couple of times. Actually, Gary, you'd probably know more about that than me because he actually rides with Gary. But fair play to the guy. You know, he's under a lot of pressure. He's come out in that race and he's performed well.
Interestingly, Gary, that he's out with Golob and Rickardson in Heat 17. That's a bit of a tough one.
It is a tough one because, like you say, he had a big transfer in Poland, but he's riding with us down at Poland. He's actually been struggling. He's riding down in the reserve berth. He's really been having a hard time with it, so he's done a really good job to come out there and get a good second. Let's see if he can keep it up. That's going to be the big thing.
Now, while you guys were all out in the balcony and I was sitting in here listening to the interviews coming through, it was a situation with Greg Hancock where he said he was a little timid early on. That's what he puts it down to, a little timid. I haven't seen too many timid speedway riders in my life. Is there any evidence of that, Carl Fogarty?
No, out there now, not tonight, no way. There's no time to be timid out there, is it? 4 laps, no way.
Oh, but Greg was obviously talking about it. He's been watching it coming in the main event. Track's a bit rough. Yeah, very nice indeed, yes. It's fabulous.
So the monitors suddenly were, Carl Fogarty's attention span was suddenly increased slightly there for a moment or two. Great sights here at the Millennium Stadium.
Great sights indeed.
So we are waiting for the next heat to come on now, which will be Heat 15. Greg Hancock, timid Greg Hancock, along with Lee Adams, Ryan Sullivan and Brian Anderson. Which way do you expect this one to go, Gary?
I quite expect maybe Greg to win it off Gate 1 because Gate 4 was working really well early on, but if you look through the last sort of 4 or 5 heats, the inside gate seems to be working good again. And, I think Greg can do it off 1.
Kelvin?
I think actually Greg was actually slightly unlucky in his first ride in the first corner. He just got caught out, but I would agree with Gary on that score. I think Gate 4 has probably gone off. I think the ruts on the outside of the starting gate there have just gone too deep.
Okay, the heat after this one is Heat 16. Lucky for some, Carl Stonehewer will be out in that. But first of all, let's get Heat 15 under the way with Peter Collins and Tony Millard.
We're looking ahead then to Heat 15, but take a look, Keith, at Heat 17, where Thomas Golob and Tony Rickardson are in direct competition. That will be an eye-opener for all of us. This is Heat 15. The man in white there, Ryan Sullivan, disappointed in 4th, first time out, and Brian Anderson, too, finished last in Heat 14, having made it through from the early stages. Full lineup, we now look at Heat 15. On the inside, Greg Hancock from the USA, keeping the stars and stripes flying because his colleague Hamill is out. Lee Adams goes from Gate 2. Brilliant. He can be at his best the top scorer or highest average man in the British Elite League. Ryan Sullivan goes from Gate 3 and Brian Anderson, the Dane, sport his way through from the early stages tonight. It's a man on the outside in yellow helmet colours. Remember, Heat 24 is the final. It's an elimination stage and 2 men in this heat will be able to go home. The last 2 take no further part in the meeting. The front 2, well, they could go all the way. Heat 15. Away they go. the inside, Greg Hancock, but a battle is joined by Lee Adams. Adams goes slightly wide. Wider still is Brian Sullivan. Sullivan goes by the man in red, Hancock. A real battle in second place. Brian Anderson is out of it at the rear, but Greg Hancock is going to have to work, and Brian Sullivan going wider and wider is getting grip and speed, and it's Australia 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's good to see that outside now working that little bit. There's some grip out there for the riders to overtake. We saw Ryan Sullivan do it there round Greg Hancock, and he's hanging on to that second place.
While in blue, Lee Adams, top of the Elite League averages. The Oxford rider, superb in league action, is showing that on a brand new track here in the Millennium Stadium, he's as good as the best in the world. With a lap to go, Lee Adams, the number 6 on the back of his bike, is placed in the Grand Prix Series last year. And Greg Hancock, a former world champion, is going to disappear out of this one, because Lee Adams in blue takes the checkered flag. The Oxford fans cheer. Brian Sullivan, the second Australian to go through in white. Third in a red, Greg Hancock. The stars and stripes for the former world champion can go home. The man in yellow and black is Brian Anderson, and there's a bit of pointing down there from Greg Hancock. I don't think he's over keen on what happened to him in that first lap. He's also looking down at his engine. But Lee Adams there, a great performance in winning 8:15, and it means Lee Adams now has a great chance of going all the way in this one, and top of the Elite League averages he may be. A lot of those fans see him regularly in league action, and they'll be applauding that performance. The checkered flag.
Oh, well, Tony, they certainly don't take any prisoners out there. On the inside, Greg Hancock looks to have made a good start. Snakes a little bit there through those ruts, but just look at Lee Adams in the blue. A really nice control corner. He keeps the bike very low. The front wheel's just hovering over those bumps, but Greg Hancock holds that tight line. Not quite realised the outside's now working so well, but just look at the rider in the white now. Ryan Sullivan uses that dirt on the outside just to fire him into that corner, and he's got the speed now to carry it. He hits that little bit of dirt that's produced now on the outside, gets his wheels in line first, and while Greg Hancock's still turning, he just slips into that second place, and there's Greg, he's going home.
Disappointment indeed for Greg Hancock, and in heat 16 coming up now, well, two more disappointments. Lee Adams and Ryan Sullivan go on to heats 19 and 20, each one race from the semi-finals. Greg Hancock and Brian Anderson can go home. Disappointment for them, but now in heat 16, the noise of the crowd is absolutely tremendous here in this Millennium Stadium. The Speedway meeting to end all Speedway meetings. Well, let's hope it's the beginning of many more like it. What a night, the Speedway. Went to the cricket this afternoon, Peter, and a lot of the people there were coming over to the Speedway, so I've waited a few people to hear what's happening.
Yeah, I'm sure that this is perhaps the biggest crowd that most of these riders have ever ridden in front of, and the atmosphere must be just unbelievable, and what a taster for them for the big time that hopefully is coming.
More big time at Speedway's World Cup in Poland from July the 1st for a week. We'll be covering all of that live on Sky Sports. Here's the lineup. A Pole who will be there in Poland, Gdansk, where the meeting starts. Peter Protasiewicz goes in red on the inside. Karlsson, with the Workington fans here behind him in blue in gate 2. Nicholas Klingberg, the Swede, in gate 3, and on the outside, Matti Furjan in yellow from Slovenia. He'll be at that Speedway World Cup, along with Sky Sports. Heat 16, remember, 8 more to go after this. This an eliminating heat. The last 2 are out of the Grand Prix. Sort of repechage heat, as they might say. I think that's what they call it in rowing. This is just a little bit quicker. Away they go on the inside. Peter Protasiewicz, Lisbon coming across in white. Well, it's Nicholas Klingberg. Round the outside in yellow goes Matti Furjan. Peter Protasiewicz has kept it down. The battle on for Klingberg in second place to challenge the pole. At the back, Karlsson has real work to do, and Stoney looks to be on his way home, Peter.
Yeah, Carl seems to be out of touch here. He's trying the outside, but he doesn't seem to be getting much grip. But the rider red, Protasiewicz, bucking and rearing, just about hangs on to that fight, but hanging on to that second place as well, which is so important.
Well, Matti Furjan out front is looking absolutely brilliant at the moment. And at the back, well, they're all over the track. And Peter Protasiewicz is the man in second place. They're going wider and wider. It seems the racing line is changing here now in heat 16. With a lap to go, Matti Furjan in yellow looks set to be one race from the semi-finals. In second place at the moment, Peter Protasiewicz. A challenge going on from Nicholas Klingberg. Out to the final bend. Can Klingberg make it? The battle is going, and Klingberg just gets there in white. That will delight Kelvin Tatum. In third place there in red was Peter Protasevich. A tremendous ride by the width of a wheel from Nicholas Klingberg to clinch second place. Disappointment at the back for Carl Stonehuer. Undoubtedly he will go home. Triumph for that man, Slovenia, Matti Foyen. But for my money, on the finishing line, Nicholas Klingberg, the Swede from Team Tatum, has got second place, and he will march on. And really, that was quite a heat. After Matti Foyen had gone away at the front, there was a real battle behind him.
Yeah, he certainly snatched that Klingberg on the line. We can see just coming up to the finish there, Klingberg in the white helmet just got the advantage over Protasevich. Very, very close, but again, we can see what happens off the start. Carl Stonehuer in the blue gets sandwiched there. Seems to be a bit of discrepancy now on who actually did get that second place. It looks so close on the line. We all thought it was Klingberg, but we are just waiting for that result to be confirmed.
While we await the news of the referee and the final result of heat number 16, the referee still making up his mind. Tension in the stadium here. I'm sure there's tension in our studio from Kelvin Tatum, but as we're looking ahead now to heat 17, Tony Rickardsson is on his way out, and we hope to get the official result in a moment from that previous race. Referee Tony Steele, the man having to make up his mind, and then moving on to heat number 17 now. The man in heat number 16, Thomas Golov, Tony Rickardsson, Nicky Pedersen and Greg Valasek, the men in action in this heat. And we're still waiting for the result of heat 16. Well, let's have a look there. That's how close it is. For my money, the man in white just got it. I called it to Nicholas Klingberg, but we're still waiting the official referee's decision on that one. We'll have to wait and see, I'm sure. But now, heat 17, here's the lineup. Thomas Golov on the inside, goes from Poland. Gate 2, Tony Rickardsson in blue. Obviously 3 times a world champion. Thomas Golov, 6 times a Grand Prix winner. Nicky Pedersen goes in gate 3 in white. And on the outside, it's Greg Valasek, the surprise packet who's taken the place of Peter Karlsson, the Pole, looking to win this. And remember, Thomas Golov has won 6 individual Grand Prix. That, along with 2 other riders, including Hamill. Away they go on the inside. This is Thomas Golov and Rickardsson. Oh, Rickardsson is taken wide. Coming through in white is Nicky Pedersen, but it's a man down in the back in yellow. Greg Valasek, the referee won't stop that. It'll be disappointment for Valasek. He will have another go, but there's all sorts of things on the track. Golov is heading Rickardsson. Back in third place is Pedersen, and that, to me, looks to be how it's going to finish.
Yeah, clash of the titans here with Golov and Rickardsson. Golov's leading it there. Nice line. Just, again, he's riding so wide, and it's good to see that outside's working, but Rickardsson knows that second place is good, but he's trying, and he's now putting Golov under big pressure.
Well, I've got a feeling we're going to see these 2 riders at the front in the final tonight. This won't be the last time they meet the way things are going. Tony Rickardsson in second place. Thomas Golov, the Pole, who won the German Grand Prix in Berlin, is half a lap away from taking heat 17. Sliding up from the back is Nicky Pedersen. Around they go, but Thomas Golov in red wins it ahead of Tony Rickardsson in blue. 2 of the favourites are through now to the next stage. The remaining 2 riders, Greg Valasek, who retired, and Nicky Pedersen, who's just finished in white, will have an opportunity to go again. But certainly, these 2 riders, Thomas Golov in the red helmet colours there, and Tony Rickardsson in blue, showing true class of 2 of the world's top riders, genuine top riders, a genuine top performance in front of a marvellous crowd here at the Millennium Stadium.
Well, off the start here, it was Thomas Golov that had the advantage over Tony Rickardsson. Tony in the blue has to move over really on the first turn, and Golov there just goes for the front, and Valasek goes down onto the track.
Well, while we watch the slow-mos, Jonathan Green is speaking with the disappointing Greg Hancock.
Well, Greg, close but nice to go tonight.
No, exactly. I just had a little bit of a rough time there in that last one, and a little bit of a bike problem that threw my concentration completely at the start. But
we saw you look down at the end. What was it?
Just two little small screws in the clutch had backed off as soon as I revved it up. So obviously just that weakness in the spring somewhere, and they backed out. But that's part of the ups and downs of racing.
You'll be back to fight another day, though, won't you?
Oh, absolutely. I'm disappointed, but we'll live and learn and move on for the next one.
Hard luck, Greg. Thanks.
So that man there, Thomas Golub, delighted with his performance in 17. He hasn't been headed in his two races so far, and Thomas Golub among the favourites. So there's the result of Heat 15, which we were waiting for. Matthew Foyen finishing ahead of Nicholas Klingberg, as we called it, on the line, ahead of Peter Protasiewicz and Carl Stonehuer. It means that Protasiewicz and Stonehuer can go home. The others march on, including Nicholas Klingberg. Heat number 18 at tapes at the moment now. Jimmy Nielsen is the rider on the inside in red. Todd Wiltshire goes in blue. Jason Crump, certainly a four-man here at the Millennium Stadium tonight, goes in gate 3. The Aussie on the outside is Mark Aram, the current world champion, 3 times British champion, crowned for the 3rd time just a couple of weeks back. As the meeting hots up as we move towards the final stages. Remember, 24 heats comprise this British Grand Prix. This is Heat 18.
I think a good place for Mark Laram here is gate 4 where he is. He needs that outside. We know he loves it, and look at all that dirt there piled up against the fence. He can use that if he really has to.
Well, we just wonder whether he will pick that line or whether he will go Thomas Golub style from the outside towards the apex of the bend and come around the inside. Mark, self-admitted, not the best gator in the world, and the back certainly one of the best. Heat 18. Away they go. Mark Laram picks it up. Mark Laram does go wide. He's almost taken into the fence by the rider in blue, Todd Wiltshire. But Mark Laram comes back and will come across behind the leader, Jimmy Nielsen. Laram is the man in yellow, but coming through in blue now is Todd Wiltshire. And that will mean that Laram has even more work to do. He's trying the inside and does it here. Oh, he looks up and coming back is Jimmy Nielsen. What a battle in second place. Wiltshire's out front. Laram is going wide. Nielsen is on the inside. Who's going to win through in this?
What a race there. Mark's just come.
Oh, Mark Laram has hit the safety fence, Peter. Mark Laram is down and out. Mark Laram, well, he took a bang there, but once again the air fence will surely be to the rescue of the world champion. He will surely be eliminated from the rerun of this heat, but he will have another opportunity to go to win his way through if he is fit and well. But he seemed to lose control coming into that pit's bend, and he went, well, off at a tangent, diving straight into that air fence. There is Mark Laram's machine, Peter. I just hope that Mark Laram, the person, will be looking rather better than his bike.
Yeah, let's just hope this air fence has done its job again, because he did go in there hard, but there's a lot of air in that fence, and let's hope he's going to be able to get up. What actually happened was he caught that dirt entering the turn that was piled up against the fence like I thought he might do, and it just catapulted him into the corner. He couldn't quite hang on to the bike and just really ran out of track at full speed, and let's just hope he's going to be up on his feet soon.
Well, Jason Crump there perhaps will be pleased that that was called off, because he was not in the front two and he'd be wanting to start again. But I just hope that Mark Laram will be all right. I'm sure that the referee will have to exclude Mark Laram, because it seemed to me that nobody else was involved in that, Peter, as he went into the fence. I just wonder, did he pick up a bit of grip he didn't expect?
Well, he did. He got far too much, didn't he? It was that dirt that was lying there against the kickboard, but you know, he did go into that. And there we go, he's on his feet. I really like to see that, because the way he went in there was just unbelievable.
Wow, Mark Laram is on his feet, and here's how it happened, I think, Peter.
Yeah, we can see Mark in the yellow here. He's having to go at Jimmy Nielsen. Just watch there, he catches that heavy dirt going into the corner. He loses control. Does very, very well to get off the bike. He goes in the fence separately from the bike, and there's Neil Middleitch, the team manager, going back into the pits with Mark, and he lives to fight another day. He'll be out in that later heat, hoping to stay in this meeting.
Well, I'm sure that Mark Laram will be excluded from the rerun. We can see it again here, Peter. He completely lost it, but jumped clear of the machine, and that was well worth it.
Yeah, the bike just totally got hold when it was unexpected, and again you can see he takes the tear off. Jimmy Nielsen's wide. Mark hits that dirt there, goes over the front, and full marks for trying, Mark, but you know, that was certainly some crash.
Well, we've heard lots of good things said about the capabilities of this air fence, and once again, Peter, it's triumph. Remember that dreadful crash that Jason Crump had in Sweden, and well, he came up to do well once again, and well, that was there is Mark Laram. A glass of water will put an awful lot of things right, and Jonathan Green is the man on the spot with Mark Laram.
Yeah, right here, of course, in the pits, and I don't want to talk to Mark because obviously he's got a lot of work to do right now, but frantic work going on here, bit of disappointment, and I think the pressure obviously getting a little bit to our world champion, but tough out there indeed. If I can, I'll get a word with Norrie because obviously you can see frantic pacer come over a little bit closer. They're all working exceedingly hard on the bike at the moment and making a few adjustments and making sure he can get back in. Of course, he has got another chance, remember, but this is what it's all about in the World Championships, and sometimes World Championships are won and lost this way because the work that goes on at this stage of the game, it's a no give-up situation. That's what it's all about, and I'm sure, as he always does, Mark Laram will keep battling on. Let's get back to commentary now.
So, well, we're going to have the rerun of this. I haven't seen the exclusion light on yet, but I'm sure that Mark Laram, there's nobody else involved, and certainly he will not be allowed to into the restart, and that will benefit Jason Crump. Mark Laram will be given a little bit of time, I'm sure, by our referee. Well, bleeding nose, I dare say, Peter. They've had some boxing down here in Cardiff in the past.
Well, I think if that's all he's got away with, he's done very well because the speed he went into that air fence. And again, you know, we've really got to commend that because that's just doing such a good job, because if that had been a normal wooden fence, we wouldn't have seen Mark walking away like that, and you know, we would have possibly seen Mark sort of out for the season with a crash like that. And you know, that they're just repairing that fence again now, but it's such a good thing, and it's a saviour to these lads, and that's really why they can all race so hard and take these big chances.
Well, we were examining it early on, Peter. They brought it all the way. They put it here with the steel structure and the airbags on the front, and they've laid it all the way around this 287-metre track. And, well, there's been so much said about this stadium. It looks a natural speedway arena. The British fans are here in their thousands, and so are they from many other quarters. But, well, for the restaging, Mark Laram looking through his goggles, we won't be seeing him in the rerun, although I haven't seen a yellow exclusion light, which surprised me somewhat. Jimmy Nielsen is already up at tapes while Mark Laram's making adjustments in the pits. That is Jimmy Nielsen in the red helmet colours. Hardly been headed all night, Peter. He's found something from somewhere, because Jimmy Nielsen was very disappointing and knocked out in the early stages with just a single GP point in Germany. Yeah, Jimmy seems to be revelling in these conditions here tonight. The track is quite smooth and flat. There's the odd drop there, but Jimmy's just doing a fabulous job. There's Jason Crump. He's trying to sort that bike out, really, because... Now, he's been excluded, and I think we'll have to see that again, because I think he's complaining he must have been excluded as the cause of that, involving Mark Laram. Or was he not under power when Mark crashed? Difficult one, Tony. He seems to be, you know, very disappointed about that, and no doubt he should be, because I don't see any reason why he should have been disqualified. Well, that will depend, of course, who was out first, him or Mark Laram in that other one. But it looks to me as if Crump was excluded because he wasn't under power when Mark Laram crashed. As I said, there we are, that's the official verdict, as I just said, that he had been not under power when Mark Laram crashed. So that means just two riders in the rerun. It doesn't really matter to them, first and second, and they will march on. Two riders, Jimmy Nielsen in red, the man in blue is Todd Wiltshire. The first two-rider race, the first match race we've had, probably the slowest time of the night, because both, if they survive for 4 laps, are undoubtedly through. If they don't survive, they still get through. Yeah, it's like a match race, this one. These two will be quite happy because they'll be progressing to the next stage. But Jimmy Nielsen is looking very, very good. He's just negotiated those bumps there. He's just on the outside of them. Todd Wiltshire went through them there and just picked up a little bit. But, you know, there's not a lot at stake in this one because they are both going to progress. In red, Jimmy Nielsen. In blue, it's Todd Wiltshire. Both now will go through to the next stage, and both will be delighted to earn a place in the semi-finals with this performance here, because this was some comfort, just over a lap to go. Anticlimactic this heat a little bit now, because the position's academic. Nobody has to rush, nobody has to hurry, and both will go through. Jimmy Nielsen in red ahead of Todd Wiltshire in blue, as they take the checkered flag there now to to complete 18 heats. There are 2 more heats to go, heats 19 and 20, which are elimination heats, which allow the riders to take a breather, the big guns, and then the big stuff really starts here at the Millennium Stadium. Jimmy Nilsson, the winner, ahead of Todd Wiltshire. What a night we're having here at the Millennium Stadium, a night of vintage speedway, and plenty more heats coming up, heats 19 to 24 after the break.
Tiger rules okay. Out of this world, but still just a man.
He's going to put his right leg in his pants in the morning just like I'm going to.
He can turn bogeys into birdies. What is his secret?
Aggressive, aggressive.
In his sights, the 2001 Grand Slam.
You know, it'll be fun.
And if Woods can KO them in Oklahoma, it'll be 5 majors in a row. The US Open in Ford Golf USA starts Thursday, 4:30 on Sky Sports 2.
Morning. I thought you were my mum. Come in. She's coming around in a minute. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. You know Gary, don't you, Mum? You met at my birthday bash last year.
Your mum?
Yeah.
I could have sworn she was your sister.
That's hilarious.
Smirnoff Ice, as clear as your conscience.
I've always enjoyed football, but I can't play anymore. Last year, I was on a ladder at work when it collapsed. I hit the floor really hard, severely injuring myself. Life's difficult when an injury means you can't work. I called Claims Direct and discovered I was entitled to compensation. They worked really hard fighting my case, and I was awarded £10,000.
Carl is glad he chose Claims Direct. Right now we're helping over 60,000 people get justice. And remember, if your claim is not successful, it won't cost you a penny. If you've been injured in an accident that wasn't your fault, at work, on the road, or a trip or fall anywhere, then contact Claims Direct today. For free advice 7 days a week, call 0800 970 0001 and speak to one of our Claims Direct specialists. That's 0800 970 0001. Call now.
Are you the sort of person that's easily irritated in the morning?
It's ads like this that irritate me.
Well, now you can take the sting out of shaving with Nivea for Men Aftershave Balm. It contains vitamin E and
Who on earth writes this stuff? It's incredible.
To gently soothe and moisturize. So whatever else irritates you, it won't be your skin.
I mean, what do they take us for?
Nivea for Men Aftershave Balm. For men who dare to care.
It's good though, doesn't it? I think I might get some.
Grandad's good at golf, isn't he?
Well, he's got time to practice. He doesn't have to go to work every day like Daddy.
Why?
He's retired.
Standard Life pensions perform consistently well, so you can spend your retirement doing exactly what you want to do.
Just think, James, when you're Grandad's age, you can play golf every day.
He still won't be able to hit the thing.
Standard Life, for pensions, investments, healthcare and banking.
Defending world champion Mark Laram is finding his home Grand Prix a tough one. A huge crowd here have been treated to real drama in the first ever motorsport event here at the Millennium Stadium. Well, as I mentioned, Mark Laram finding it very, very difficult indeed here. Norrie Allen is with Jonathan Green. He's Mark Laram's manager.
Yeah, obviously tough times down here, but working very hard, of course, Norrie. How badly hurt was the bike?
No, it wasn't hurt at all. Just the chains filled up with loaded dart and put a new sprocket on and we're ready to go.
More importantly, your rider, obviously he got some attention from the doctors.
Yeah, he's okay. He's banged his ribs and his hip, but he'll be ready for the Eliminator.
We were saying this is what it's all about. This is how World Championships are won. It's when you have to keep battling like this and get over whatever you can take.
Yep, definitely.
So he'll be back in. Have you had a word with him yet?
Yeah, told him to go out there and go for it.
All right, fair enough. We won't want to talk to him because obviously he's got to get his concentration together. So have you. We'll let you get back to your bike. But that's the latest down here. Back to you, Keith.
Thanks very much, Jonathan, indeed there. So we look down on the track as this heat is about to get underway. There's still no light on yet, so there's plenty of time for them to get round to the tapes. Let's go back to our commentary team then. Pete Collins, Tony Millard, that was a tough one on Mark Laram.
Well, certainly from Mark's point of view, it does mean that he actually was awarded third place in that heat, which means in heat 19, Jason Crump has to come out. We see him there in the yellow helmet colours. The explanation being that when Mark Laram had the crash and was excluded, Jason Crump was not under power and had therefore already pulled out, which made that he takes fourth place in heat 18. We move on now to the lineup here. Lee Adams is the rider on the inside in red. We see Lee Adams there. Remember, the top two riders march on to the semi-finals. The last two will be eliminated. So this is a real cruncher, and there are top riders galore. A man in white there is Nicky Pedersen, who made the A final, of course, in Berlin. A little bit unlucky perhaps not to win it, and the race had to be rerun. Heat 19 then. On the inside, it's Lee Adams, the Australian. Gate 2, Nicholas Klingberg from Sweden. Gate 3, Nicky Pedersen, the Dane. And on the outside, that's Jason Crump, surviving the problems that heat would saw Mark Laram crash into the fence. Remember, the last two will be eliminated. The first two go on to the semi-finals and have a chance of winning the British Grand Prix.
Yeah, just look at those ruts there on the start. They are so deep now. The riders' exhaust pipes are actually grounding on those, so the riders are actually looking for a rut that isn't too deep, because if you get in that and the back wheel's jacked up off the ground by the exhaust, when you drop that clutch, you're not going nowhere.
Peter, also as we're looking down at the tapes, we've got an electronic system monitoring these, invented by Glyn Taylor, the Aussie rider, first used 19 years ago, and it's all under remote control from referee Tony Steele. A little box with an aerial on is all it takes to operate everything.
No wires, Tony, all electronic.
No brakes on the bikes either. 500 cc's, no brakes, one gear, very fast, very dangerous, very skillful, the riders. Heat number 19, away they go, keeping it down in blue is Nicholas Klingberg. Klingberg to the men first. Round the outside goes Jason Crump, anxious to make good for what went wrong before. And Crump, if he shows this skill, this speed, this determination, the man who was born across the Bristol Channel, oh, he's in second place. But out front, Nicholas Klingberg, the Swede, is going well. At the back, Lee Adams is in trouble. So too Nicky Pedersen. But in blue, Nicholas Klingberg leads this heat and looks set for a place in the semi-finals. A top 8 place, an automatic place in the main event of the next Grand Prix. In blue, that's Nicholas Klingberg. Jason Crump in yellow in second place, stringing them out ahead of Nicky Pedersen. At the rear in red, but working as Lee Adams. And Peter, this is easy for Klingberg.
Yeah, Nicholas Klingberg, Team Tatum there. He's really having a good ride. He's settling down really well. He's under a bit of pressure from Jason Crump, but if these two stay in this position, then they will march ahead, and the two behind will be eliminated again.
The checkered flag greets Nicholas Klingberg of Sweden and Team Tatum. In second place in yellow, Jason Crump. Both of those through to the semi-finals. Lee Adams has to march out. So too does the man in white, Nicky Pedersen. Both will be taking part in the event right from the first 4 heats in the next Grand Prix. And that man, Nicholas Klingberg, is through to the main event and has a chance among the big guns in this, the British Grand Prix 2001 here in the Millennium Stadium. 19 heats have gone, 5 more to come.
Well, off the start there, we can see the rider in white, Nicky Pedersen, just so really concentrating going to the corner, but the rider in blue, Nicholas Klingberg, so controlled, commanding this first corner. You can see he's just rolling that throttle off as he hits those bumps there, and Jason Crump riding the high line, just not enough grip there to manage to pull ahead there of Klingberg, but Jason rode a real good race here. He tries again down the bottom end. The track is very, very wide. It's so important that we get such a wide track, and the track is wide out there, and out front there, Nicholas Klingberg just doing enough to hold off Jason Crump. Jason had a really good ride to hang on and keep that second place.
So Nicholas Klingberg ahead of Jason Crump. Nicholas Klingberg will go in the first semi-final, heat 21. Jason Crump in the second, heat 22. Lee Adams with 8 points. Nicky Pedersen with 7. Well, disappointment for them. The man in blue there. As we move to heat 20, Ron Sullivan. That's Nicholas Klingberg celebrating. Sorry, Ron Sullivan is the man in blue in heat 20. That man in white there is Mark Laram, and lots of attention on the world champion here, because if he doesn't finish in the first 2, he can go home. If he finishes in the first 2, he's in the main event for the next Grand Prix and has a chance of winning this, the British Grand Prix 2001. Well, what a battle we're having in each and every heat at the moment. A really top-class speedway meeting, thrilling thousands here in the Millennium Stadium. What a place this is. What a track, Peter. What a night.
Yeah, we've already seen that Mark Laram is as hard as iron there after that crash. He's got blood speckled all over him. He's coming round to the start. He's got to get in the top two here.
Among Matty Furrion in red on the inside. Ryan Sullivan, the Australian, goes in gate 2. Gate 3 is Mark Laram, the current 3-time British champion and world champion. On the outside, Greg Valasek. He's the expensive Pole who rides for Poole in the British League. He'll be down there in about 10 days' time. Sky Sports, we continue our regular British Elite League action. This is heat number 20. Last 2 riders eliminated. The first 2 go through to the semi-finals. Keep your eye on the man in white, Mark Laram. Shaken perhaps a little bit after that outing against the fence. He's now in last place and has work to do. Picking it up in blue, the Aussie Ryan Sullivan. In yellow round the outside goes Valasek. Laram trying again to come through. Laram will pick up the grip round the outside. Will he pick them off one by one? He's gone by one, Matty Furrion. He's now challenging the man in yellow, Greg Valasek. Way out in front is Ryan Sullivan. Here comes Mark Laram. He'll go through on the inside. Oh! He's going to have work to do now, having lifted there. Perhaps too much power and problems with half a race to go. Mark Laram has work to do.
I don't know how Mark hung on to that bike there. He just stood up on his back wheel. Unbelievable the way he clung to it, but he's made it so hard for himself now. He's got such a lot of ground to make up. Can he do it, Tony?
We're looking for a sensational last lap from Mark Laram. Ron Sullivan out front in blue. There goes Laram. Round the outside. Puts the pressure on Valasek. Laram will try and cut through on the inside. Laram is going through on the inside. Valasek closes the gap. Can Laram get off the final bend? Laram is battling. No! He hasn't quite done it. Valasek has got through there in yellow in second place. It's won by Ryan Sullivan in blue. Disappointment for Mark Laram in white. He all but did it. He stayed on his bike down the back straight, but that is real disappointment for the number 1, the current world champion, the current British champion. The British fans are cheering a valiant effort by one of their favourite riders, but Mark Laram will have to take part from the early heats in the next Grand Prix and has no chance now of finishing in the top 8 here. He hasn't made the top 8 in the British Grand Prix here at the Millennium Stadium. Disappointment for Mark Laram. Peter, a great effort, but from the start it was going to be tough.
Tony, you've got to feel for Mark here. Look at this. He really has to dig deep in this one. Bruised and battered off the start. He misses it completely. Last going into the pit bend, but he just never gives up, Mark. He turns so hard here in the back place, cooks back to the inside, and he's just going to go on the inside here to Greg Valasek. It looks as though he is, but coming onto the straight, he's just not got the speed, but just look at that for a wheelie. Almost off the back. I just don't believe how he managed to cling onto that. Put his leg right back, just managed to pull the handlebars back down to the ground. And, you know, really, he tried so much. He left it so hard, left it so late, and on the last turn, he just 2 feet short.
Well, so near and yet so far, they say, for Mark Laram. Heat number 20, won in flying style by the rider in blue, Ryan Sullivan from Australia. He and Greg Valasek are through to the semi-finals. Mark Laram and Matty Furrion, with 8 and 7 points respectively, go home. The top 8, we know. The semi-finals are coming up. There's 4 more heats of fantastic speedway action here at the Millennium Stadium after the break.
Of combat.
I am not a warrior. Very soon you will be.
Conditioned to feel no fear, no pain.
Ow! You complain much.
Determined to win.
Have we anything resembling a plan? I'm going to kill them all, sir.
Antonio Banderas and Kurt Russell star in an action double bill.
Soldier! Sir!
The 13th Warrior tomorrow at 8, followed by Soldier on Sky Movie Max.
Exotic fruit juice with a cutting edge of vodka.
Oh, no one
Noah. Never take time out whilst building biblical boats.
You wait, there'll be a hosepipe ban in the summer. Because Kodak Ultra Zoom film is designed especially for zoom cameras, you won't miss the moment.
With 5 different flavours in every box of Skittles mints, you get a new sensation in every mouthful. Cool mint, spearmint, sweet mint, toffee mint, peppermint. New Skittles mints. Taste the rainbow.
The new Braun Synchro is our first shaver whose head moves from side to side, so it captures more hair and cuts closer. And to keep it feeling like a new shaver every day, here's how to clean it.
Carlsberg don't do holidays. But if we did, they'd probably be the best holidays in the world.
What an event the inaugural Millennium Stadium Speedway Grand Prix is turning out to be. But the world champ is out. Mark Laram, try as he may, and he really has been trying, is out of the event now. He cannot believe it. He hit the fence so hard, came back, but was knocked out after unbelievable scenes on the track. Laram then is going home. This is not the way the defence of his title was meant to go. Well, with me here in the studio, Carl Fogarty, Kelvin Tatum and Gary Havelock. I've got to go to Carl Fogarty first because you know what it's like when you have to retain a World Championship, albeit a road racing one. Have you ever seen a man fight as hard as Mark Laram?
No, I haven't actually. I was fantastic. He was the fastest guy out there, which is a shame he can't make the start, and that's what's cost him any chance of progressing. But he was absolutely, he did everything that the crowd would have asked for him. He just gave 100% all the way through. He was very, very unlucky.
Those are the men that are out. Lee Adams, Mark Laram, Nicky Pedersen, Matty Furjan, he should have stayed in as well. Greg Hancock, Peter Protasiewicz, Brian Anderson and Carl Stonehewer. So those are the second 8. So 16 riders now knocked out. 8 are going through to the semi-finals. We'll bring you the lineup as far as they're concerned in Heat 21 and 22 in just a moment or two. But Mark Laram, the #1 plate holder, just 8 points. Now then, if you've only just switched on, this is what happened to the world champion. Have you ever seen a wheelie like that? That's as far gone as anybody can be without falling off the thing. So Mark Laram then, really, it was more by luck, I think, than judgment when it's that far up. Gary Havelock, have you ever seen anything quite like that?
Well, I rode with Mark for a couple of seasons down at Poole, and I've seen him do some unbelievable things on the motorbike, and there's probably not many riders in the world who could have saved that like he did. But Mark's just finding out how difficult it is this year to retain the world title. Last year, he worked brilliant all year, but he got the breaks when he needed it and got a bit of luck. And this time he's not having any luck at all.
There are the semi-finals. Golob, Wiltshire, Klingberg. Well, Tatum's shouting about that here. Wallacek, they'll be in 21, and you can read down Heat 22. I have to just remind Kelvin Tatum here in the studio at the moment that he said to me just a moment ago before Heat 19, Kel said, I think this is where we go home. Nicholas Klingberg is just keeping quiet here at the moment.
That's all right, he just... Exactly, and I'm eating my words because he went out and he surprised me. He made a brilliant start and held off Jason Crump to win the heat, and he's making his first semi-final, so I'm delighted. I'm absolutely delighted.
Well, it's a fantastic night, and the drinks will be on you if he goes any further in this meeting, Kelvin, as long as you promise that. Let's get then to, it includes, of course, Peter Collins and Tony Millard at trackside. Tony.
Well, Heat 21, we've gone through 20 heats of fabulous speedway. There are still 4 more to go. Remember, the first 2 here go through to the A final. The second 2 will compete in the B finals. We sort out places 1 to 8 in this British Grand Prix. The lineup sees Thomas Golob in red on the inside there. Tremendous rider, 2 heat victories already tonight. The man in blue there is Todd Wiltshire, the flying Australian. Todd Wiltshire, who came second in Heat 18 to get his way here. The man in yellow and black is Greg Valasek. The man we missed out in white is the man we heard Kelvin Tatum talking affectionately about. That's Nicholas Klingberg. We look at the lineup from the inside. Thomas Golub in red. Gate 2, Todd Wiltshire, the Australian from Sydney. Nicholas Klingberg from Sweden goes from Gate 3, Team Tatum. On the outside, Greg Valasek, the second string down at pool and riding tonight in place of the injured Peter Karlsson. Karlsson hoping to be fit for the next Grand Prix. There is Thomas Golub. The poles are making a noise. Everybody's making a noise. It's really great in here. What a night, Peter.
Yeah, Thomas Golub there on Gate 1. I think he would prefer to be further on the outside than Gate 1 because you are restricted, but the way he's going tonight, he's just like lightning off that start, and he goes straight for the middle of the circuit to avoid those bumps in the first turn.
We look down for the bar. Referee Tony Steele next to us, up by the tapes, away they go. And in blue, Todd Wiltshire, but look at Golub, he's done it once again. He goes wide, Wiltshire comes through, Wiltshire will... Oh! Wiltshire is down! A man at the back puts his bike down, Greg Valasek. I'm afraid that Todd Wiltshire will have to be excluded, I'm sure, by our referee, which means that Thomas Golub will go with Nicholas Klingberg and Greg Valasek. And the man in blue is officially excluded, Todd Wiltshire, by our referee, which means effectively he will get last place and will ride in only the B final. And Todd Wiltshire, who'd gone so well until now, will have to be content with that. We can see it, Peter. Whoa, yeah, aerobatics.
Virtually the same place as Mark Laram, and really full mark to the opposition. Watch Thomas Golub think so quickly there. Just lightning reactions to miss that, and also Greg Valasek, who was at the back to lay that machine down. Wiltshire there in the blue helmet just comes out of the corner, his back wheel hits that rut there, and just look at that, he's got no chance to pull that bike down, and the avoiding action there by at least two of those riders was just phenomenal there. Golub first and then Valasek.
He hit the rut, you said, Peter, but it was a courageous move to try and get by Thomas Golub.
Well, it was. That was what it was all about. He knew that he had the chance. Thomas had gone wide on the first turn, having made the start. And, you know, Todd's paid the price, really. And there he is, back in the pits and going home. Well, certainly not going home, but he won't be in the A final, that's for sure.
While Todd Wiltshire will compete in the B final, the best pace he could get, of course, would be fifth, and that will get him 15 Grand Prix points to add to the 14 he got in Germany, and he'd still be in contention. So he'll have to content himself with a little bit of a rest. There's another semi-final to go before the B final, but well, conversation in the pits of Todd Wiltshire, and we may just have another chance to have a look at the superb efforts of Thomas Golub and Greg Valasek in avoiding the falling Todd Wiltshire. And Thomas Golub, I'm sure, won't be fazed by that. The red helmet colour with the number 7 on there, and they're pushing out again for the rerun, but we can have a look again at this, Peter.
Yeah, just look at Golub. He's made the start. He's in the red in the middle of the picture. On the inside, there's a big gap there for Todd Wiltshire to go for. He rides very tight. There's a rut there, and he's got no chance to back that throttle off. And Golub was just the star there. Just lightning reactions. And Valasek was bringing up the rear, but he did so well. And Todd must be so disappointed with that.
Peter, what about the chance now of a real surprise in the final? Because it's going to be either Klingberg or Valasek are going to make it to the top 4.
It is, because we said about Valasek coming in at the late stage into the main event so early to replace Peter Karlsson, and he's just shone like such a bright star tonight. He's just mixed it with the big boys, and he's doing the business all through this tonight.
Well, Valasek, certainly a rider to look to in the future. He rode with Mark Laram for Chester Cobra in Poland last year, and he certainly made his debut for Pole last October. He rides for Poole as a second string at the moment. But the man in red there is the man they're all watching, because Thomas Golub, who won the German Grand Prix in Berlin. And, well, I'm looking forward to a real battle between him and Tony Karlsson in the final here. If he makes it, Golub. Wiltshire is excluded. Golub will have a bit of space to himself, because Klingberg will go from gate 3 in white. And Greg Valasek, the pole at Poole, as they say, goes from the outside in yellow. Fly the tapes once again. Golub wheel perfect to the first bend. A little bit of a nudge between the second two. At the moment, Klingberg holds that space. Valasek will try and cut back, but at the moment, the young Swede, Nicholas Klingberg, the 28-year-old Intercontinental champion, is there and very much in the battle and set for a place in the final. Thomas Golub looks certain for a place here, and it's Greg Valasek at the back who's going to be content with a place in the B final, but nevertheless a top 8 place. It may not count for him, because Peter Karlsson could be back for the next GP.
You know, Tony, Thomas Gollob tunes his own engines. He's looking so fast and so strong, although I did see a bit of a puff of smoke on the first lap, but the way he's going, he's got something special, and he's riding such a different line to all the others. Wide on the turns.
He is looking absolutely brilliant tonight. Everyone saw, everybody talked about him being a future world champion. This could provide him tonight with a second successive Grand Prix victory, and it'd be Grand Prix win number 6 for him if it happens tonight, and a new record. Gollob takes it to salute the Vans in red, ahead of Nicholas Klingberg, who takes second place and wins through to the final. Greg Valasek in yellow will have to be content with a place in the B final, but one man I know who'll be absolutely delighted is Kelvin Tatum, with his man Nicholas Klingberg winning through there to the final, shaking the hands of Thomas Gollob. But Gollob, a rider supreme here tonight in front of an enormous crowd. He has shown why he's the highest paid sportsman in Poland, and well, Thomas Gollob knows that he's in the final. So too is Nicholas Klingberg.
Yes, I just like the way here Thomas moved real far over towards the Grade 2 position, and he uses a bit of track there that no one's used. He causes the rider in white there, Nicholas Klingberg, Valasek, to almost crash into each other, but Thomas goes straight for the dirt on the outside, makes a big diamond shape of the corner, back to the dirt, gets his wheels in line, but there we can see that Klingberg's got a really good run to hang on for that second place, and that's the style of Gollob. He's got time to look back at Klingberg, but the pair of them are both going to the A final.
Well, certainly through to the final now, and we're looking, there's Gollob ahead of Klingberg, and Greg Valasek and Todd Wiltshire will partake of the consolation final only. But down here now, and man in yellow on the outside will be Jason Crump. Gone from the outside an awful lot tonight in the red helmet colours, with the number 17 on his bike is Jimmy Nielsen, who's also ridden pretty well tonight. And coming through, Tony Ricardson will go in blue in gate 2 in this one, leaving Ron Sullivan as the rider in white still to appear at tapes. The first two, remember, win through to the final, where they'll take on those redoubtable pair that we saw in the last race of Nicholas Klingberg and Thomas Gollob. Coming out now, Ron Sullivan. Clock is counting down. He has 45 seconds to get on the way there. Doesn't look as if there's a problem. Chance to look at the lineup. This is the second semi-final. Jimmy Nielsen from Sweden goes in red for the inside. Tony Ricardson from Sweden goes in gate 2 in blue. Ron Sullivan from Adelaide, Australia goes in gate 3. On the outside, Jason Crump from Mildura in Australia and born in Bristol. That's the lineup. This is the second semi-final. Remember, the first two go through to the main final, have a chance of a rostrum place. All four are short of a place in the main event in the next Grand Prix. And here tonight, they're racing for pride, honour, dollars, glory, and the plaudits of a massive crowd. Labelled as heat number 22, the second semi-final. Away goes our starting Michael. Left of the tapes is Ron Sullivan. The battle is joined, coming across from the outside. Jason Crump is determined in this. Tony Ricardson is back in third place. We could have a shock. Ricardson's going wide. Nielsen's holding second place. Ricardson will come through into second place. A truly brilliant ride by Tony Ricardson now. But is it over for Jimmy Nielsen in third place? No doubt about Jason Crump. He could be set for his third British Grand Prix victory. Jason Crump has time to look back. Ricardson now looking back and looks safer.
Yeah, I think these two here now are going on to the A final with Jason Crump from the outside. What a ride. And again, Tony Ricardson, the way he's just gone by Jimmy Nielsen. The pair of them now will be secure here, first and second, and I'm sure that's going to be good enough for the pair of them.
With a lap to go, they only have to be safe now down the back straight. Crump has a chance to look back where he sees Ricardson in his wake. The other two, well, they'll have to be content in the consolation final. But Jason Crump beats Tony Ricardson into second place. Third place, Ron Sullivan in white. Trail off for crossing the line. Jimmy Nielsen in red will finish in the top 8. But we now know our final lineup. We'll see some of the world's best. Nicholas Klingberg might have been a shock, but Thomas Gollob will have to take on Jason Crump. And the second place man from that one, Tony Ricardson. Jason Crump will be delighted with that. And we have two Swedes, a Pole and an Australian in our final here tonight at the Millennium Stadium to delight another packed house here. Speedway is on the up. The Swedish flag is flying with a vengeance here, because they know with 2 riders in the final, Sweden will have at least 1 man on the roster.
Well, I suspected that Jimmy Nilsson would have been in the thick of things here. There's Jimmy in the red helmet, really just in second place, but gets it all wrong. The rider in front, Jason Crump, was Buckingham Crump going there around the first turn. There's Jimmy Nilsson in the middle of the picture, but just look there when Tony Rickardsson gets his wheels in line, just steams down the inside of the straight where nobody's been, turns very, very sharply, and there we can see Jimmy Nilsson in there getting all kinds of trouble, as was Jason Crump in the lead. Jason just corrected it in time. He didn't lose any ground whatsoever. A little puff of smoke there from his bike, but he carried on. There he is in the pits for the win.
While Jason Crump, there's his father Phil, colleague of course, or confederate of Peter Collins. The victory sees Jason Crump and Tony Rickardsson through now to the final. Ron Sullivan and Jimmy Nilsson will compete in the B final. We wait for the lineup for this B final, which will be the next race while they grade and water the track. Todd Wiltshire, Greg Valasek, Jimmy Nilsson and Ron Sullivan, the men in that B final. There is Tony Rickardsson. Chance for a drink to dry his throat out. He knows that his next race will be against the Pole, Thomas Golov, the Australian, Jason Crump, fellow Swede, Schott, Nicholas Klingberg. And there's the Jason Crump fan club. They're marking their programme. The Speedway fans all mark their programmes. They want to know exactly where we're going. And the Union Jacks across St George. But, well, not too many cheers for the Brits in the closing stages of this event. Jonathan Green is in the pits with Jason Crump.
Yeah, Jason obviously on fire. You must have enjoyed that.
Oh, man. To come off gate 4 there, you know, I knew I had to make a rocket with Tony and Jimmy on the inside of me, and I was so glad to get to the corner, and then had a really big wheelie on coming out of the 4th bend and just managed to hold on to it, and I gave it a lot, man.
You certainly did. Well, you've made it all the way through now. What about a chance for a 3rd British Grand Prix win?
Well, you guys have been going on about it. I guess I'm in the final now, so I've got as good a chance as the other 3, and man, I'm just going to give it all I've got and give it the lot, and I want to win here, you know.
Best of luck.
Thanks.
Thomas Golov there in the pits, pondering his thoughts, I'm sure, making a few last-minute adjustments. As Peter said, he tunes his own engine, so he's totally in control now of the technical side of his output, Peter, Thomas Golov. Does that make it hard work?
Well, I don't really know how he does it, because he's got such a busy calendar. I know he's not riding in the Elite League this year, but, you know, to be taking engines out of bikes yourself, taking them to pieces, tuning them, replacing parts, you know, and actually riding them, racing them and wearing them out, you know, he's doing everything, and it's hard to understand how he can really keep that up, but the way he's doing it, he seems to be doing just that.
Catching a glimpse there of the corporate hospitality facilities here at the Millennium Stadium. That's something pretty new in Speedway. A number of big companies playing a part in this meeting tonight, and certainly we see the flags like we see at a football match, and well, is this the rebirth of Speedway at the highest level? Media attention supreme here in this Millennium Stadium. We've got a gap in the roof up high above us of perhaps about 10 metres, so we can see the blue sky. Well, he must be the only man in this place that's yawning, Peter.
I'm sure he's not yawning because he's bored, because it's been an absolutely fabulous GP, and the first time we've had a roof actually over the track for a GP, although it's been a lovely day, actually, a lovely evening, and you know, we've not had any rain here, so it would have been okay outside, but you cannot guarantee our weather, can you, Tony?
Are you after a job in the Wales Tourist Agency, Peter? There's certainly sunshine out of the cricket this afternoon. The Australians in Pakistan, a packed house at Sapphire Gardens, and they say Cardiff is the place to be for sport. They've had the FA Cup final, internationals, just about everything here down at this stadium. And there's the roof we see, and my estimate at 10 metres, I don't reckon that's far out, Peter. Nice blue sky above.
Yeah, it is, and you know, I must say everyone's done a fabulous job with this track here. Everybody that's been involved, they've really done a good job, and I want to give them my full congratulations, because it's been fabulous.
Well, Carl Fogarty, super bike, super bloke. How about this for super crowd? Are you enjoying it, Carl? Is it different?
It's absolutely fantastic. Really enjoying it. I just never thought the Speedway was this exciting, and like I said before, I'll be down for this time next year. I'll be back for sure.
Well, Carl, I've got to say that I've not seen anything like this. I've been following Speedway since I was about 4 years old. Gary, disappointment for the fans here today with Mark Loran being lost to us, but what about the excitement that they're having here with this stadium? I mean, actually walking in through when you look at the Millennium Stadium from outside when you first come to it, it looks not ordinary, but it doesn't look as big an event as it is when you actually come inside, does it?
The arena, you see all the people and all the noise, it's just marvellous, and it's really where Speedway needs to get to, you know, take it to these big stadiums and put the events on and really get the people in and get people interested.
We saw John Postlethwaite earlier on, the chief of Benfield International, the people that obviously promote and look after the Grand Prix Speedway Series and the World Team Cup Series. There was a certain amount of anxiety, I would think. He reckons it's cost nearly £600,000 to promote this race meeting here. That's a lot of money to actually invest in any sport, isn't it?
It's an awful lot of money, and you know, I don't know whether they've recouped that back to 40,000 people or whatever, but like you said, I think next year you come here, there'll probably be 60,000. And you know, certainly it's not just planning for the here and now, but it's planning for the future, and that's what, you know, somebody like Benfield's got hold of our sport, and we've got to thank them for that.
Got a lot of momentum behind it now, the Grand Prix Series. We can go for Heat 23. Matty Furrion, Ryan Sullivan, Todd Wiltshire and Jimmy Nielsen are next up to the tape. Tony.
I don't think that's quite what the lineup is. I think you'll find that Greg Balasek is the rider in blue out in front of us. The lineup shows the man in red is Ryan Sullivan, Greg Balasek in blue, the man in white is Jimmy Nielsen, man on the outside is Todd Wiltshire in yellow. They are racing for positions 5 to 8 in the Grand Prix Series. 15 points for the winner of this, 14 for the second, 12 for the third, and 10 for the fourth in this, the consolation final. As we look across the tapes, remember the big final still to come, featuring Thomas Koloff, Tony Ricardson, Jason Crump, and Nicholas Klingberg. That man in yellow there is Todd Wiltshire. Who's going to win this one, Peter?
Well, Jimmy Nielsen off gate one. He's certainly going to be the favourite for me, because he is such a starter.
Ryan Sullivan on the inside, Greg Balasek gate 2, Jimmy Nielsen in white gate 3, and on the outside Todd Wiltshire is the yellow helmet colour. Clock is counting down because Ryan Sullivan has moved back to try and get a little bit of the mist and steam from under his goggles, dare I say it, and now they're all doing it. They've got to keep their eye on that clock down there because the clock is counting down. There's now only 30 seconds left for them to be ready to start. Heat 23, it's the B final, places 5 to 8 in this, the British Grand Prix. Well, Thomas Koloff came into this as the winner of the German Grand Prix with 25 points, and being in the final, he's set for at least 16 more tonight, even if he comes last, and he will still be top of the table. Starting marshal moves away. Up by the tapes a bit belatedly. Ryan Sullivan in red kicks it down. Coming across in white is Jimmy Nielsen. Cutting back now at the back in yellow into third place, Todd Wiltshire. At the rear is Greg Balasek in blue. But Ryan Sullivan has perhaps got it right this time. A little bit late. Could be enough to earn him 5th place on the night.
Yes, it was, Tony. It was Ryan Sullivan off gate 1. Made a jet start to the first turn. In yellow, Todd Wiltshire's having a good ride also.
In red, Ryan Sullivan, the Australian. In yellow, Todd Wiltshire, fellow Australian. The Aussies are going to take 5th and 6th place in this Grand Prix. Jimmy Nielsen, disappointing, hasn't been behind too much tonight. Greg Balasek, perhaps getting a little bit tired, but he's put up a great show tonight with a lap to go. Ryan Sullivan will march on. Ryan Sullivan will look, he finished 8th in Berlin, and well, he's going to finish even better here. And it's consistency that earns the awards here. In red, Ryan Sullivan in red takes the checkered flag. In 2nd place in yellow is Todd Wiltshire. 3rd in white is Jimmy Nielsen. And back at the rear in blue is Greg Balasek. That's sorted out the minor placings. The final coming up with Thomas Koloff, Tony Ricardson, Jason Crump and Nicholas Klingberg in front of this crowd. The anticipation supreme. There may be just one race to go, but not a single person has left this arena. The action is absolutely unbelievable, and that big action is still to come after the break.
3 nations, England, Pakistan, and world champions Australia.
Brilliant stroke.
The NatWest Series continues tomorrow 10:30, Sky Sports 1 and Extra.
Citroën Zara Picasso. Free your mind. Celebrate the Zara Picasso's first birthday and get a new 1.6i SX including free air conditioning for just $11,980. Only during June.
For just £14.99 a month, you can enjoy a unique doorway to a whole new world that AOL are making simpler, faster, and easier to use for everyone. So without any more costly telephone bills, you can go wherever you want, whenever you want. And if you're not a member yet, we've got something special for you.
Now you can try AOL for absolutely nothing. Just call 0800 237 237 for your completely free trial pack.
I know you must find this very startling, but I would try to explain, but I'm not sure that you'd believe me.
Tippaloon? It's all right, I've got my mobile. Just needs charging. Can you show me where your points are?
Sometimes I think the whole world is mad and I'm the only sane one.
Please, Jerry, shut up.
Yeah, put a sock in it, love.
Very long buyout.
Reef, exotic fruit juice with a cutting edge of vodka.
Exclusively live. Coverage sponsored by Zurich, Tuesday at 10 on Sky Sports 2.
What a race this is going to be. What 23 races we've had, and what a place this has been, the Millennium Stadium here in Cardiff. Tony Ricardson there. If he can beat Thomas Golob, well, the race will be right open. If Thomas Golob wins this one, then it will be his 7th Grand Prix victory, a new record. Man in white there coming up, Niklas Klingberg, the surprise packet from Sweden in this final, the 28-year-old current Intercontinental champion. The man in blue is Thomas Golob there. We know his capabilities, the 30-year-old from Poland, 4 times a Polish champion, 34 Grand Prix he's taken part in. Peter, who's your money on? That's Tony Ricardson.
Yeah, well, he's never been a world champion, Tony, and he really wants that, does Thomas Golob. I know he's taking gate 2 in this final because he believes there's a massive threat coming from the outside, and that is Jason Crump on gate 4.
There's the lineup. 3 times world champion Tony Ricardson in gate number 1 in red. Thomas Golob, 6 times a Grand Prix winner from gate 2 in blue. Niklas Klingberg, the rookie, the 28-year-old, he's in white, and on the outside, Jason Crump, already twice a winner of the British Grand Prix. This could be a win for the 3rd time of asking, both the previous 2 at Coventry. But look at this now, this lineup, class personified. Klingberg may be a shock, but his performances tonight have made him every bit a part of this Millennium Stadium extravaganza. The tapes fly up, away they go on the inside. Ricardson's got the drop there. Golob's in 2nd place. Golob will come through on the inside. Round the outside in yellow goes Crump. Klingberg's tailed off at the rear, but the leader is the man in the red helmet colour, Tony Ricardson. Ricardson, 3 times a world champion, desperately wants to win the Grand Prix series. Now in 2nd place is Crump, but Ricardson has stretched his lead, and Golob is
class from Tony Rickardsson. Jason Crump in second, having a great ride to overhaul Thomas Gold as well.
Just over halfway, Tony Rickardsson out front. Tony Rickardsson would take his total to 48 Grand Prix points if it stays like this, and Tony Rickardsson, with a lap to go, is set to take the British Grand Prix. Golov is trying to move into second place. Already holding second place is Jason Crump. The battle in second place is intense. At the rear, Klingberg tailed off, but round the final bend they go. Tony Rickardsson is the British Grand Prix champion. Second place goes to Jason Crump in yellow. Third in blue is Thomas Golov. Disappointment for him. The Swedish flags, though, are flying. And Tony Rickardsson, I suggested, would win this on this track. That's exactly what he's done. Class in the end, they say, Peter, but form is temporary, class is permanent.
It is. Just look at Tony there. He's ecstatic. He's riding with those broken fingers, just as though there's completely nothing wrong. And the way he went out of that start there, absolutely marvellous. Jason Crump so happy with him there, but Tony, he is ecstatic.
Well, certainly the fans have had their money's worth here in the Millennium Stadium. Tony Rickardsson is absolutely delighted. The Swede, Rickardsson, well, he may be 30 years old, 3 times a world champion. He wants his 4th. He rides for Poole, of course, in the Elite League now. And certainly he's aware that the British fans love him as well as those from Sweden who made the trip across the North Sea and across England to enter Wales. And a speedway extravaganza here at the Millennium Stadium. Those from Sweden are enjoying themselves. Just about everybody, as far as Timbuktu, must have enjoyed it here. The traditional bumps for the top Swede, the main man, arguably the best speedway rider in the world. Thomas Golov might challenge that. Mark Loran may be world champion. But many people believe that this man will take the title once again. Here in the Millennium Stadium, Tony Rickardsson has emerged on top.
Well, this is certainly a game of bluff on the start because it's so crucial to get one over the riders as they go towards the first turn. Just look at Tony Rickardsson. He leaves his turn pretty late. He's trying to stop the run of Jason Crump around the outside. Jason gets a little bit of grip but goes far too wide. Golov's done a really good manoeuvre also to try to cut up on the inside, but Tony Rickardsson knows he's there. He's got eyes in the back of his head and he just storms off to win in fantastic form.
Well, Thomas Golov will be disappointed with his 3rd place. It still keeps him pretty much around and about the driving seat. It's going to be quite a battle between these top 2 men.
Let me stop you there, quickly. Hey, fantastic, you did it.
Yeah, man, I couldn't believe it. We kind of tough meeting. We kind of ended up with some tough start positions, but then we had a good gate in the last one. And yeah, here we are.
There's some fans ready to cheer you on. I'll let you get out there.
The winner, the man, the British Grand Prix champion, it is Tony Rickardsson. And there's
Tony's wife and little girl.
Tony's wife and little girl as well. What a night out it's been for them. So the Swede holds the British Grand Prix Championship silverware above his head. He has been outstanding throughout the week. Karlsson celebrates here at the British Grand Prix. The fireworks have gone up. They've not even opened the roof for the fireworks. These are exploding under a closed, well, partly open roof anyway. Cardiff is certainly awake now. Wonderful scenes here at the Millennium Stadium. Tony Rickardsson is the British Grand Prix champion. Today's event, what an example of Grand Prix Speedway. The white helmet.